Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Samuels pulled the chair on to Teague. Another turnover. Here come the Bears in transition. Mitchell, and he scores.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Over 900 yards of offense as Dalton gets it into the hands of C.D. Lamb. And he takes it in for another Cowboys touchdown. And an exclamation point here in Week 16.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Kispert now driving and rejected, and Baylor's on a break. Smart move here, little delay. Wagler, splash, killer.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this terribly rainy June 28th. It has been cats and dogs, antelopes and reindeer. Driving into the studio from MLK, I saw a wreck on the side of the road, a tower, and I'm sure Craig can give you play-by-play on I-35, which is, I'm sure, rather interesting. How about the weekend, including today? Baylor football, Dave Aranda and company have been loading up their class of 2022. We are going to hear from 3 of the young men who've committed. Caleb Douglas, the wide receiver from Fort Bend Hightower. And then a minute ago, Devyn Bobby, a safety from DeSoto, and I've got some information from their defensive backs coach. He committed. And along with Alvin Abasale, offensive lineman, a big, strong, good-looking tackle from Coppell. So they had themselves a weekend. We'll have Douglas. Grayson will come on and kind of summarize it with us. And then later on, Abasale, Devyn Bobby, along with Tony Casillas, the Big 12 Radio Network, former Oklahoma All-American, and, of course, Bryce Hager, former Baylor linebacker, who's a free agent right now, last played with the Jets. But, Paul, we get into this, and it's just a big weekend. We can't get everybody on the commits. We can't because of time and timing of when it happens. But, man, they got something going in Waco, Texas with Baylor football.
Yeah, they do, and I think you're seeing it a little bit around the country with the second-year coaches are starting to maybe hit their stride a little bit where they didn't last year, and probably because their schools have told them, like, listen, we lost a year, pull out all the stops. And there are things, especially if you're in one of the NIL states, you can start saying, hey, in less than a week, you can start making money off your name, and we have people that are going to help you with that, and in the NIL office, and they'll have people in charge of that. So those things are going to start flooding in, and I think that what Dave Aranda and his staff have been able to do the last month, and especially this last weekend, is really, bring to fruition their message of come and help build it back to what you know it can be, because it's not they weren't 2-7 or 2-10 for 5-6 years, 2-7 for a year off of playing in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a program these kids grew up watching, and they don't remember it for 2-10. They don't remember it for 1-11. They remember it for RG3. They remember it for Matt Rule. They remember it for Corey Coleman. I think we, as adults, get really caught up in recency bias and think that these kids are looking at these college football teams the same way that we are, and that they're thinking about it the same way that we are. And most of the time, they're not. They're thinking about it as 17, 18-year-old kids, and, hey, where would it be cool to play? Hey, where do I have good relationships? Where are cool uniforms, cool stadium, cool everything? And, I mean, why would you not go to Baylor? I mean, because they won 2 games last year? Okay, well, they were in the Big 12 title game the year before that. You're not going to go to Baylor because they went 1-11? Well, the same coach that did that then won 10 games the next year. Not going to go to Baylor because the scandal. Well, since then, they appeared in the Big 12 championship game, and they've proven they can still – I mean, like, there's no reasons to not to unless there's somewhere else that you just want to go. So I think it's a great landing spot. I think if you're a defensive player, you have to be excited about the coaches. I think if you're an offensive player, you have to be excited about the changes. So they've been on a tear. I think they've done a good job in developing relationships and making it something meaningful rather than just the same old glossy graphics and same all gas, no brakes or whatever, tagline that people come up with. They put all these tricky little nicknames on the class or, try to gussy it up. And bottom line is it really comes down to just the players and the coaches. I mean, all this other stuff is just kind of extra. So they've done a good job of establishing that player-coach relationship and making it feel like a family, and not just saying that like every other program does, but actually executing that. And I think that's obvious when you see all the commits that are coming in here over the last couple of weeks.
Well, they're now to a point where, and let's say you were to sign what would be right about the maximum of 24. 25, of course, is the max, but they're now 3/4 of the way there. And the staff seems to be right now, They all are about to take a break. They've just had another official visit, and they all seem to be in a very, very good groove. And then today, adding Devyn Abasale, the young tackle from Coppell. What now is that? 5 or 6 offensive linemen in this class?
17 more to go.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, and
Yeah.
you're right, but they have loaded up, and these are, and one of the things, and you got to be careful, because if you say stars don't matter, then when you start to get them, then it's hypocritical to go, oh my God, but I think they have 4, 5, or 6 4-star type players who have committed to Baylor as well.
Let's put the whole stars don't matter argument to rest. Stars do matter. Stars don't mean everything. I mean, that's like, I hate it when I see one side or the other, like, stars don't matter. Well, yes, they do. Stars do matter. They do to an extent, but they're not everything. Like, yes, in light of the teams winning the national championships, but we're talking about the same teams that always recruit at the top. Like, that's just something that's never going to change. To say, well, you have to have this many, on average, top 4-star commits to blah, blah, blah. Like, I get all of that, but we're still talking about the same teams year after year after year. So other teams have to find other ways. And, yeah, you do need to scoop in and get the 4-star players. But Matt Rule nearly won a Big 12 title by taking a lot of 3-stars and just developing them up. And you can do it that way, too. I think it's about a mixture. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's a mixture. And I think right now they've got a good mixture. They've got guys that are maybe not the most highly rated, but have what they're looking for, and what they look at 2 years from now, what that guy might look like. Not necessarily what he is right now. And then they've got some guys that could probably come in and play right away as well. So I think with the amount of talent on campus, and there is talent, and kind of what is coming in and coming out, they're in a really good spot right now.
Well, you can have 2 chefs, and one can have better ingredients than the other, but if the other guy doesn't know how to cook, then the good ingredients don't mean anything.
Exactly.
So that's what the stars mean. Like, yeah, if you've got good ingredients and a great chef, then you're going to have a great meal. And that's what Dave Aranda's trying to put together here.
A couple of notes about Alvin Abasale. He picked up playing the guitar last year because of COVID. There was so much downtime. He did tell me that Eric Mateos and James Blanchard were the main part of the recruiting process with him. Also,
well, that's been the biggest deal. Let's face it, James Blanchard coming back, and I think the fact that you've got some new blood there on the offensive side of the coaching staff with Grimes and Mateos, I think they have 6 offensive linemen committed now. They have 6, to answer your question a second ago. So that's not just, hey, like, just come here. No, that's Eric Mateos and Grimes and that whole staff doing their thing to have 6 guys committed at that position. But I think Blanchard, with his eye for talent, which was good enough that Matt Rule wanted to bring him to the NFL, and just the connections that he has throughout high school football, I think that's evident in what you're seeing. And I think maybe, just maybe, you found the perfect combination in James Blanchard and that recruiting side. I know there's others over there, not just him, but that evaluation side paired with that coaching side. And a lot of coaches who love the game of football and love what they do in Grimes, Mateos, Aranda, Bell, McGuire, et cetera. It's a great combination to have right now.
No, there's no question. So Alvin Abasale will join us today at 5 o'clock. We'll hear from Caleb Douglas, a big, strong, good-looking wide receiver from Hightower High School down in the Houston area in about 5 minutes. Devyn Bobby, ball skills and a great tackler. So I called Claude Mathis at DeSoto. He answers the phone. Hey, Smoak. I said, what you doing? He goes, I'm in a meeting. I said, can you give me about a minute about Devyn Bobby? He goes, I'll give you my secondaries coach. And he starts to rave about Devyn Bobby. Great ball skills, tremendous tackler, play inside the box, can play outside. Football IQ, academically, IQ is high. He will not only line up our secondary, but the linebackers. They had a linebacker from DeSoto named Taylor Young that played at Baylor, undersized player that ended up being basically that same person. This is a different position. But Coach Beatty could not say enough about Devyn Bobby, who committed as well to Ron Roberts, the defensive coordinator, and the rest of the staff at Baylor. So he's coming up. Bobby will be on at 4:30. Caleb Douglas in a minute. This is interesting. This Lauren Cox being waived by the Indiana Fever, 3rd pick overall. She just hasn't gotten, last year was kind of a year wiped out with COVID. She was hurt a little bit, but she was waived. That's the number 3 pick on the draft. You don't see many of the WNBA highly drafted players not make it. Now, she'll get picked up by somebody you would think very quickly.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
college,
yeah, it's maybe just not a fit where she was.
College World Series.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. You're the number 3 pick in the draft, and you wash out of the league in less than 2 years. So I would like to know more of if it was just, it's nothing to really, gloss over, because I think if you were, a Lauren Cox fan, this is certainly not what you expected, and this is certainly not what most WNBA fans expected. And I think I have heard, tales of a couple of people that have been drafted highly previously that don't work out. I mean, Kalani Brown was traded, like a year after she got drafted, and she was a top 10. I mean, so it's
she's out right now, right? Wasn't she waived by Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, she very well may have been. I don't know. Yeah. But, I mean, it goes to show you what inexact science it is, and you would think that the Lady Bears would just have, superstar after superstar in the WNBA, but that's not really the case outside of, Brittany Griner and, potentially some others. But, that was surprising, and I'm sure Lauren will have to just kind of regroup and figure out what the future holds.
Taya Cooper's had a nice run where she is in L.A. Of course, Dejanay and Dee Richards, among some others that continue to play as well. Tonight, the College Baseball World Series best of 3. Vanderbilt, who walked into the championship because of NC State being kicked out, and Mississippi State. And what a couple of nights in a row with Texas. A couple of incredible games on Friday, and then late into the night on Saturday, Mississippi State with a walk-off base hit to eliminate Texas, who made a great run. But it's going to be Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, the best of 3 starts tonight.
Well, NC State got screwed. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know why they couldn't have waited a day unless everybody had to be under protocol for the 2 weeks or whatever. There was just too many positives. Maybe screwed's not the right word, but I really hate how hastily they just moved forward without even trying to seemingly come up with some alternative solutions. It was like, hey, 1 minute, you might play, you might not play. Okay, you're going to play. And then hours later, it's like, we're not even going to let you play the next time. And that was really unfortunate. I felt really bad for NC State to get all that way and then to have a COVID issue. That's what everybody was worried about. They were worried about that with March Madness. They were worried about that with the college football playoff. And then we get to the very end and like the very last sports that's competing, and then it finally does happen where a team gets wiped out. So I hated that. I hated it for those guys, especially those seniors that aren't going to be coming back. That's an awful way to end your college career, especially with the type of run that they were in the middle of. I mean, they were the last team that was unbeaten. And that was awful. But Mississippi State and Texas, that was 2 incredible baseball games. And Mississippi State, give it up to them to make it an all-SEC final. That's a crushing loss for Texas. I mean, that's, I know afterwards I think their account tweeted out, great season, and they're right. But you couldn't help but feel like, as great as that was, the end was so heart-wrenching that it was just like, in that moment, I can't imagine you were really thinking, yeah, but it was a great season. No, I think it's going to take a little while to get over, but they're a hell of a team.
Yeah, I understand that COVID-19 is different than rain, but the College World Series what was it, like 4 or 5 years ago, they had torrential downpours just for the entire week, and the whole thing was pushed back essentially 3 days, and they made it happen. So I don't know why they couldn't have waited a couple of days, and especially with the guys who were vaccinated who tested positive, to be like, okay, well, they're not symptomatic, they can go play. That's not what they did. I do see the issue in that they just assumed that, well, if the vaccinated guys are testing positive, then the unvaccinated guys are going to have it or whatever. But just wait. You couldn't wait a couple of days.
That's what I'm saying.
The decision came down like at 2:00 in the morning on Friday, and it just seemed like...
And they're still there. They haven't even played the championship game, so why couldn't they have waited a day to see? You know what I mean? Like, where was yesterday? Why couldn't yesterday have been used as a buffer day? I didn't understand that. I felt like they really hastily just called that. Whereas you're right, in rain delays, they'll wait 6 hours. That Texas game the other night came back on at like 1:00 in the morning, it felt like.
It was.
So they waited like 7 hours to play that one. I don't get that. I really don't.
Well, it still amazes me because the players who were tested positive are the ones who were isolated. They also are around the other ball players from Vanderbilt
Yeah.
and the umpires and the fans. And then you have 24,000 people in the seats. And this is what sometimes, to me, what contact tracing allowed to happen was, but. I get it. I understand. I understand that it's very, very dangerous as far as the way it spreads. But contact tracing was almost, yes, but oh no, but this. And in the case of this, what sucks. Now, who's the great baseball writer, the Cowboys baseball writer?
Kendall Rogers.
Kendall Rogers did a story on his feed, on his Twitter feed. I don't know what particular outlet, D1 Baseball, whatever. And it's an amazing background story about NC State and the county, which is in Omaha, where Omaha is located, and the CDC and the NCAA, and it just seemed a little bit fuzzy. The one thing you can complain about the decision that NC State was more frustrated with was a communication issue. Go ahead and call Caleb. But you want to take a break first?
Let's
break first. But it was a communication issue. You have to stay in communication. And so that was the one thing that kind of seemed like kind of frustrated NC State, obviously, along with the fact that they're out. When we come back, Baylor football with 3 commitments over the weekend. In fact, 2 of them today. We'll talk to all 3, including wide receiver Caleb Douglas from Fort Bend Hightower, next on SicEm365 Radio. If, in fact, you have anything in your body that hurts a lot that could be a muscle or a ligament, Ideal MRI can help you out and help you save money while doing it. If your doctor that you've gone to because you have a pretty much, it doesn't have to be excruciating, but pain that doesn't allow you to function very well, pain that doesn't allow you to sleep very well, or just go about your normal business. It could be in your back, it could be in your leg, it could be your knee, of course, which is attached to your leg, or maybe it's something in your shoulder, around your back. And if you need an MRI, or your doctor says, hey, we need to get an MRI, IdealMRI.com can do that for you. State-of-the-art technology. Their MRI machine is as good as it gets. And also they can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, $497 or less every single time. And they can help you with insurance claims and make it lower. $497 or lower every single time. So make sure you tell your doctor at IdealMRI.com.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
The 4th of July sales event is going on at Allen Samuels with the 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude and values up to $3,750 or 1.9% for 72 months plus $500 bonus cash. And the 2021 Jeep Gladiator Overland with values up to $1,500 or 3.9% for 72 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340, online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
Come by, let's be friends. With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
What a weekend it was for Baylor football, carried into also today with a couple of other, with a Basile and also Devyn Bobby's commitment. But it started when Caleb Douglas, a Fort Bend Hightower wide receiver, made his commitment to Dave Aranda and Baylor. And Caleb joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. Caleb, can you try to explain what you feel as somebody who not only is committed to Baylor, but also feel this this pretty nice surge of adrenaline when it comes to this class of 2022 at Baylor?
I feel great. I feel like this class is going to be the restart Baylor on their winning streak. Like, everybody's, like, turned. We all know each other some type of way. We text them now. We just ready to get it started.
So how big is the text group of you guys?
It's about 17 of us, 16 of us.
That's a pretty big group. Yeah, that's awesome. So, Caleb, take us through kind of just the visit and the weekend and everything. You know, you hear schools talk about family and relationships, and you know, that's something to say, but it really seems like from the commits coming in and the way guys are talking, there really is that going on right now. Can you kind of explain the atmosphere and what drew you to Baylor?
What drew me to Baylor was Coach Aranda's person of the player. He had like a great explanation and everything.
Caleb, can you? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, last year, as you know, there were no visits. There were no camps. There was no official visits. None of that. Can you see with Dave Aranda and all the others now they're able to do that, how critical that would have been last year since he wasn't able to be able to get in front of you and everyone else and do what you just said?
Yeah, like I understand like about how not having a visit and like you picking the school without an official visit like was kind of hard. But with Baylor, I don't think it was that hard because Coach Randall, he even like preaches it on Twitter, on all social media. He's very personal player.
Caleb Douglas, Hightower High School, with us on SicEm365 Radio.
How much is it, like one of the guys committed at Zach Pyron, a quarterback, and somebody you're going to be working with, and that you've seen that the offensive line guys coming in. How much did that make you excited when you decided to commit?
Oh, yeah, I watched Zach's film like a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's a real quarterback. He gets the ball. He's a big quarterback, got a big arm. He uses his legs and everything. And then with O-line, I was like, oh, yeah. They have a lot of room to grow. Like, they're just big now. Just imagine they get that college weight and that college strength on them. You're going to be scared.
Caleb, what's it been like getting to know Chancey Stuckey, who will be your position coach here in the future?
Oh yeah, I love Coach Tucky. He has great energy, like super great energy. So like I know like when we get to practice and all that, he has not a lot to do is like the yellow lie and then all that. He like he's talking about great energy, a great guy.
You mentioned the text group. The group text has 16. There are now 18 players because 2 more committed today. Did you keep up with the offensive lineman from Coppell, Abasale?
Oh, no, I haven't even looked at my Twitter yet. I was like, it's like everybody's submitting. It's like such a surprise.
Yeah. And did you feel that coming out of the weekend that there would be more than just you?
Oh yeah, trust me. It's some more coming. I can't tell them, but it's some more coming. Just watch.
Well, yeah, today Big Alvin Abasale committed, and then Devyn Bobby, the safety, committed as well. So there's been 2 just since you, and so some more coming. I know a lot of Baylor fans will love to hear that. So it just seems like there's a really good chemistry with this class. If you enjoyed, even though you just committed, I guess you're enjoying getting to know these guys who are going to be your future teammates.
Yeah, fast. I was on an official visit with Zach. Me and Zach I had the same day official visit. He was great dude. I love talking to him, everything. Great energy, all that.
So you said you watched this film. Do you like to just sit down and watch film? Are you that kind of, film rat, so to speak?
I wouldn't say that, but like if the film is like entertaining, then yes. Like that film entertaining to me. I was he's a quarterback. I used to play quarterback, so I'm going through it like, oh yeah, he's good. Like that's something I would have did. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I did see a note. I believe Grayson or Brian or Colt, one of the 3, said that you were a quarterback younger in high school when you were in your younger years. What was that change like, and what led to you becoming a wide receiver?
Well, the change I made the change because we had a D1 quarterback already, Coach Latino, the UTEP commit. And so we was like, we don't want to waste any talent on the bench. They know I could play almost everything on the field. So they was like, go receiver. Because at the time, Latrell Neville, he was out with kind of like a concussion for like the first game or 2. So I went and played in his position and ended up working. And my favorite, I had a touchdown my first game. Then my second game, I had 2 touchdowns. So ended up working out. So he was on both sides of the ball. He's on the left side, I was on the right side.
And you are, how tall are you, 6'4"?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, you've got some size to you, and obviously you carry your weight very well. What did Chancey Stuckey say to you about what he sees in you and what else he wants from you?
He sees that I have, great body control. He was like, you can play the slot, you can play outside. You have great hands. Any ball that comes your way, you're going to catch it, like as you said. And I was like, yes, sir. Trust me, I will catch you. No drop balls around here.
Well, they have no question.
That's music to their ears. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We, in fact, when Chancey Stuckey was available a couple of times during spring drills, he mentioned that he didn't really go back and look at what much anyone did when they were a part of Baylor last year. He wanted to see what they could do in front of him and not worry about what was in the past. What about you? And you mentioned Zach Pyron. He has become kind of like the ringleader of this class. Are you going to be like Batman and Robin now the rest of the way to get the last 5 to 7 names?
Oh, yeah. Me and Zach, we've been keeping in touch, all that. Especially me and Conrad Jones, to the quarterback that's there already. We keep in touch every day.
Yeah, you got Kyron, who's already here on campus and had a really nice spring drills as well.
Yeah, how'd you get to know Kyron? Did you already know him from previously, or did you get to know him through Baylor?
Oh, I've been knowing Kyron since 7th grade. We played AAU basketball together.
Oh, okay, very cool. So he's got some deep relationships established, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So then on top of that, we played them in high school like 2 years in a row, and they won. They beat the brakes off us.
Yeah,
they beat the brakes off.
They're pretty good. Shadow Creek's pretty good team. So
they were pretty good. Man, I looked at your schedule last year. You guys you play some dudes. Westfield, the Woodlands, Manville twice. You guys you've got your hands full, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. We had I'm not exaggerating. We had one of the hardest schedules last year. Like one of the hardest schedules in 5A 95. 95 and Texas football, we had one of the hardest schedules.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even throw in Richmond. Foster was a game in which you guys had a nail-biter. You lost that game by 1. I mean, you've got some dudes on your schedule. How much does that fuel you during the offseason?
Dude, oh yeah, it's great. Because me personally, I do not like blowouts. I like when games are close and everybody's playing to their best. I do not like blowouts. So, and I think we had some people, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great season. This is going to be a great season. Great, fun season.
Caleb, when did Baylor show up on your radar?
They showed up, I'd say, around January. Around January they showed up.
Okay. And was there always something about them, even from the beginning when you had so many options, you still do, that you just kind of felt something about Baylor?
Yeah, I like Baylor because it was close to home. They played big-time football. But when I was looking at them, all the coaches like Coach Stuckey, they wasn't there yet. So I had got my offer probably by March, when all of them got there, and they was excuse me. Ever since I started talking to them, they made us feel like a family.
All right, now we've asked some of the guys because we saw Miley, offensive lineman from Utah. He committed about a week ago, and we saw a picture of him at the table during an official visit with a bunch of lobster tails, along with Siaki Ika. What did you have when it had the visit for food? What was the options for you?
I got steak. I had steak. I had lobster tail. I had sliders. What's it called? It's this one other thing. Oh, calamari. That's my first time ever having calamari.
Oh, I like calamari. Yeah. I like
fried
it a little crispy.
Calamari. I'm down with that. Yeah, absolutely.
I like mine a little bit crispy. You don't like it rubbery, do you?
I don't know. I haven't had all the flavors. All I had was that one.
Yeah.
I bet it was probably fried. I would hope so, at least for the first time.
It probably is. Yeah. All right.
Well, hey, man, how exciting is this to just have your commitment known? I mean, I know recruiting can be a bit of a grind to know you're committed, to know what your fellow classmates are like, getting to know them, getting to know the coaches. Just, is it a relief? How does it feel today?
It's a relief. I had the recruiter process. It was just long. It was kind of confusing because everywhere sounds good, but you got to pick the grade out. So it was I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go. Then I started talking to Coach Randa and Coach Stuckey. They was just go with your heart. Don't go anywhere just worrying about football. Go with your heart. Your heart wants to go there, then you go there. And I was yeah, that's a great thing. So I was yeah, I'm coming to Baylor.
All right. Well, you get to enjoy it now. You have a little bit of a summer in front of you. From Girl Friday 85, Caleb Douglas totally rocks. His energy is so infectious. I'm ready for him to join the team now. But you got a year to go. Take care of it and enjoy the summer as well, Caleb. And it's great to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caleb Douglas from Hightower High School, 6'4" wide receiver, played quarterback. I think that's a plus that he played that position at one point. He and Zach Pyron are tight. Of course, he knows Kyron Jones. Played with him, in fact.
Well, I think the most interesting thing that he said was that Dave Aranda was the pull. Because, you don't hear that too often. You hear about the position coach, and at other places you may hear about the head coach if there's some big personality like Saban or, a legendary figure like Saban or a big personality like a Lane Kiffin or someone like that. But the fact that it was Aranda that he specifically cited and then message a person over player, I think they found something there. And I think it's not just they found something, it's something that obviously they all believe in and thought, hey, this is the message that we want to send as our program. And I think that message is getting through loud and clear. And it's not just being taken as Caleb says there, just lip service. Because like he said, a lot of people say a lot of things and you got to kind of sort through the BS and figure out, who's really real and who's really going to do, what's best for you. And so that message is obviously being heard. I just put out a tweet a little while ago of just what they've done in the month of June. The dead period opened up on June the 1st. It's the first time the dead period had ended in well over a year because of coronavirus. And since then, they had the dead period open up. 16 days later, offensive lineman Caden Siraki commits. The 18th, Trey Emery commits. The 20th, Jordan Neighbors commits. The 21st, George Maye commits. The 26th, Enos Sledge commits. 27th, Caleb Douglas commits. And then today on the 28th, Ebaseli and Devyn Bobby commits. So they've done all that. 8 guys since the June 1st dead period ending. So, yeah, that message is getting through loud and clear, I would say, and it's working out really nicely.
Yeah, and there might be more. Who knows?
Well, there's definitely going to be more.
Well, I'm talking about maybe even who knows what might happen. I'm not saying that anyone's told me this, but they seem to have a nice little run, and a lot of times these things come in clumps. When we come back, someone who can help kind of digest this, chew it up, and then help us understand what else is coming, maybe today or tomorrow or this week from the last official visit. Grayson Grundhoefer, he and Brian Etheridge were up here again with Jack over the weekend and over the official visit weekend. The kind of work they do is amazing. Grayson and Craig with the Bearcast on Tuesday. And Grayson tells us about Devyn Bobby, Abasale, and also Caleb Douglas next on SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. I've talked at length about the customer service that you get there. Look, when you're going in and you're looking for something you don't know, like, oh, I need a recommendation on vodka, or maybe I need something to pair wine with. Their staff is very knowledgeable. They know everything. And look, if one of the people's new, they're just going to call somebody who knows, and they're going to give you the straight deal on everything. And that's one of the great things about what Steve Chapman has done over there, Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Craft beer, like you would not believe the roster. He just churns and churns and churns. Lots of summer stuff in there now. So if you're a craft beer fan looking for some of those summer brews, why don't you go in there, check out their walk-in fridge. They've got great selection. They also still have some of the single barrel Balcones that you can only get there at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. That barrel only available for purchase at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. I have a bottle of it. It's delicious. It packs a wallop, and it's really, really good stuff. So pop in there to Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beet potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Caleb Douglas told us why Baylor. Good, very nice personality. Big, tall, good-looking wide receiver. We'll hear from Abasale from Coppell and also from Devyn. Bobby from DeSoto got great reviews from his secondaries coach at DeSoto. We're joined by Grayson Grundhoefer. He and Brian Jack were up here yesterday. They have covered this like a blanket, and it has been amazing. And Grayson Grundhoefer joins us, SicEm365 Radio recruiting analyst. Grayson, could you have imagined, even as confident at times as you might be, the run that Baylor's on right now?
You know, I would say I think last weekend was kind of the tipping point where we kind of got to see what Baylor was going to be able to do when they got prospects on campus and kind of just where they were at with building relationships with recruits. And I think it all came to fruition last weekend. And I got to say, you know, when I talked to y'all last weekend heading into the visit, I was pretty confident that Baylor was going to land a significant number of prospects this week after the visits and after kind of the guys from the first visit got to lay out their recruitment a little bit more. Like you saw Caleb Douglas commit today, but, you know, he went on his visit last weekend. So he kind of took his time a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I think after the first weekend, there was a lot of confidence that they could do it again, and they absolutely did. This Baylor staff is killing it right now on the recruiting trail. And I've mentioned this before, but it was all about the groundwork that they put in before the visits happened. Those relationships that were already built really just allowed kids to show up on campus and just get a feel for if Baylor was home or not. You know, it wasn't really a building a relationship type thing. Baylor had already done that. And so really the visit just kind of brings it all together, and they've done a great job of capitalizing on it.
Grayson, what do you think the key was to just the wave of it? Like we've heard from Caleb Douglas and Dave Aranda. A lot of people have said Eric Mateos. Do you think it starts at the top with Dave Aranda of being able to close this all so rapidly?
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to give credit to just one person, honestly, because I really think, like I said, it's just the groundwork that was put in place, because you got to remember they weren't able to see these guys. You know, this Baylor staff has had very limited face-to-face time with any of the commits in the class. So it was all about, you know, Zoom calls or FaceTimes or just phone calls in general, just trying to build a relationship. And for a lot of these guys, it was their first time on campus for an official visit. Some were able to come for unofficials during the month of June. But for the most part, it was just the one time they were all able to be together. And it really allowed this Baylor staff to continue building those relationships and to really show what they could do when recruits were on campus at Baylor. I will say, obviously, everything starts at the top. And the fact of the matter is Dave Aranda is a great recruiter, and Dave Aranda is a guy who is very driven to recruit well. And I think you're seeing that pay dividends as well, as he's really bought into the recruiting side of things in college football. And it's really helped with this class. Caleb Douglas is one of the guys that, like y'all mentioned, has mentioned Dave Aranda specifically multiple times. But I think a lot of the guys in this class would say, of all the schools recruiting me, the head coach that was the most active was Dave Aranda.
So, Grayson, 6 offensive line commits, all out of the high school ranks. Do you feel like they're probably done there? And whether or not they are, do you feel like they've kind of addressed everything, which I guess goes hand in hand with the other question?
Yeah, so as of right now, I would say they are done at the offensive line position. The only exception to that would be if they took a best player available. Obviously, Neto Umeozulu out of Allen. He's kind of one of the top guys in the entire class, in the entire state. Would they take a guy like that? Absolutely. But outside of that, I think they're pretty much wrapped up. They have a nice class. Today, obviously, landing Big Alvin out of Coppell, the 6'6", 310-pounder, will give them a left tackle prospect, which is something they were missing in this class. And I got to say, you look through the class, the guys that they have, I mean, there's a mold. They have a lot of guys who are over 300 pounds, a lot of guys that are big, physical, offensive linemen. I think that's exactly what Eric Mateos is trying to build up front.
I did see earlier that Jeremy Patton from Tenaha and also Derek Brown, I think, from Texas High, both of them very talented young prospects, are going to make decisions at some point today on what, their final 2, 3, 4, or 5? Will Baylor be on their list?
Yeah, so Jeremy Patton is dropping his final 5 at 4. I would be stunned if he wasn't in the final 5. Frankly, I think Baylor is pretty much a lock to be inside his top 3. So, yeah, I would be very surprised if they didn't make that list. As far as Derek Brown, that one's going to be a little more interesting. He's releasing a top 2, and he was just at Baylor over the weekend. I think it's going to be very telling based on what he comes out with, if Baylor is in that group or not. I've seen a lot of momentum for Baylor. If I were to guess, I think Baylor will be in his top 2, but I think a lot of that is going to come down to evaluations and how much room Baylor has in this class. I think that is something that I don't feel like people are paying attention to enough, but they've filled up really quickly that even though, some guys are very highly rated, they might not have room for them. So I think it's going to be very telling to see if Baylor is inside that top 2. I think it means that, Baylor's gone all in. They have enough room. They're ready to go out and compete for a top 300 player like Derek Brown. And if not, I think it more so signifies that Baylor may be running out of room at certain positions.
Well, I'm not sure if it means anything, but Brown just liked my tweet about all the commits over the last month. So just now while we were talking about him, he liked that tweet. So I don't know if that means anything or not. So, Grayson, as you look around, the secondary has kind of been an area where they haven't, seen a lot of numbers just yet, but Devyn Bobby today gets that secondary started off. Is that one of the areas of focus now? As you mentioned, they're filling up. There's, maybe a handful of spots left now at this point. Is it secondary and where else that they are probably looking moving forward?
Yeah, definitely secondary. Obviously, Jalen Peoples decided to commit to Kansas over the weekend after his official visit at Baylor. So he won't be in this class. So Baylor's sitting at one defensive back commit, and that is Devyn Bobby, who committed today. He, of course, took an official visit a little less than 2 weeks ago. And during that visit, he did an on-campus evaluation, which is basically he just kind of camped, but it was an individual camp where the Baylor staff could see kind of how he moves, his speed, really get a feel for who he is as a player. Obviously, that's a big thing that's been trending now for a lot of schools. So that resulted in Devyn Bobby getting the offer. And then, of course, he decided to commit right when he got the offer today. So that's a big-time pickup for the Bears because he's the first safety prospect that they've added into this class. And then, of course, earlier today, Corey Gordon out of Oklahoma, he mentioned that he's going to be making a decision soon. He was on Baylor's campus over the weekend during an official visit as well. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on. I think Baylor's in a pretty good spot there, and if he were to commit, that would give Baylor two safety prospects in the class, two very different safeties. Corey Gordon going to fit more the mold of J.T. Woods. I've heard the Orion Stewart comparison for him if he were to arrive at Baylor, and then Devyn Bobby probably going to play the star position, which is what Jalen Petrie has played the past season.
You mentioned, without giving specific names, but obviously we've heard a lot about Dave Aranda. And then, of course, the offensive lineman, there's not just Eric Mateos, but this staff seems to have something that is very dynamic and a lot of great chemistry. A lot, of course, is the fact that now players can come on campus. You can wine and dine them, whatever you want to call it. How much do you feel, Grayson, the chemistry among this staff when it comes to recruiting? Because when we had Bill Peterson on last week, Baylor assistant coach for Scott Drew, it wasn't a Jerome Tang commit. It wasn't a John Jacobs' commit. It was everybody's commit. And I understand certain guys are the lead recruiters. Do you feel that with the football staff right now?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Obviously, you're going to have guys who have built, maybe longer, better, earlier relationships with prospects. That happens all the time. And in football, it's so different than basketball because you're recruiting so many more prospects for the number of positions that you have to take. In basketball, usually you're only getting 3 or 4 guys per class.
Sure.
So that changes things, of course. But I think the general idea of what you're bringing up is very, very correct. And I think the reason I say it is because I think what they've done is they've turned it into really a group effort. So, yeah, okay, maybe James Blanchard built the early relationship with a prospect, and they know him really well, and that's a huge reason why they like Baylor. But then the prospect comes on his official visit, and he's already, during that time, been on FaceTime with Dave Aranda, gotten to meet his position coach, gotten to really build a connection there so that when he shows up on campus, he's super comfortable with everyone because he's already talked to him, already built a little bit of a relationship, and it doesn't really matter who his first contact was because that Baylor culture, that person over player mantra that has been thrown around a lot is already there and already known for the prospect. So now you get on campus and you're just looking for it. And when you see every single coach has it, I mean, that just kind of brings the whole thing together. And I think they know that in order to have a top 20 class, in order to really fight for a top 25 class every year, it has to be a group effort and everyone has to be on the same page. And they have to be organized, and that's something they've really done a good job of.
I'm going to say this, and Grayson, thanks for your time. I know that you've been covering the recruiting, Colt, Brian, Craig, and Grayson with Bearcast or whatever. But I have to tell you, I think what you've done and the combination of others, including the Sunday yesterday with Jack and Brian, I think the level of what you guys have done to saturate and cover the recruiting for Baylor football is insane. It's gone to a different level. Just to let you know, I'll say that on the air, and I'm not ashamed to say it, you have and others have done an amazing job. And you are all over this, and keep doing it. And thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Smoak. We're just working hard and doing everything we can to make sure that everyone in the Baylor community and all the SicEm365 followers are kept up to date. I mean, it's a really exciting time, so I really appreciate it. And I know myself and the rest of the SicEm365 staff, we're working really hard. As y'all know, y'all are a part of it as well.
Yeah, we love it. They, drop the announcements and the commitments and the stories, and then we'll try to get them on to help show some of the personality from Miley last week to Caleb Douglas today, and against eventually Abasale, and of course Devyn, Bobby as well. When we come back, we wrap up the 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock hour. No, keep going.
Just talk for 3 minutes. I need to move your clock up to the top of your thing.
We would come back at a break at like 3:58 and then have to take a break to get so.
Okay.
When you were in school and they showed you the thing that was like this, did you get mad at the teacher?
Hey, Wimbledon's on.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, it sure is, huh? Well, and some soccer too.
Yeah.
And us.
Soccer never ends. I don't know what league it is, but soccer never ends. How about, okay, you want to kick a quick little golf nugget? So yesterday, the Travelers, Armstrong, I'm not sure how much you followed that, but the Travelers went 8 playoff holes. 8 before Harris English won it. He was with, oh my God, I just went blank on the name.
Hickok.
Yeah, Hickok, who's played at Texas, by the way. 8 holes. It's the second longest playoff in golf history. I think there was one that went 11 holes at one point. Nelly Korda won her first ever major on the women's tour. Number 1 player in the world. A couple of notes about her. Her dad was a tennis player. I thought I had the notes about her. Maybe I did not. But her sister's also very good on the LPGA tour. And their brother is playing at Wimbledon this week. Their father was a heck of a tennis player, I think, when he was from Australia. But their first time an American has been ranked number 1 in women's golf in 7 years.
Wow.
7 years. Remember that note Scotty B or someone gave us about tennis? That was the first time in forever that no American was ranked in the top 30. LPGA is the same thing. There's players from all over the world that have been dominating golf in 7 years since the Americans had the last ranked number one player in the world, and it's been 3 years since they'd won a major on the LPGA Tour.
I'm glad that I grew up in the era. Craig and I grew up in this era. And of course, you grew up in an era of great American tennis. But I'm glad I got to see Pete Sampras and Agassi and Courier and the era when I was in middle school and high school where the Americans were the best. Like, we had the best tennis players. That's not true now. And
I mean, it has been true on the women's side still for years and years and years. The men, that have fallen off. Serena's still been dominating, and you got others behind her now that have come up as well. So, it's really the men's side because that's been dominated by Nadal and Federer and, Djokovic. I mean, those are the guys that are the top dogs. There's no Sampras, Courier, Agassi. Yeah, I don't know where those guys are.
Yeah, the other part of it is that not only were the men, I don't know if the American men were always ranked one or in that neighborhood, but it was chunks of them. Chunks of American players back in the day that were part of it. I mean, there's always been the overseas influence when it comes to the national, Borg and others, but man, the United States men's tennis is just like...
We're a long way from Connors and McEnroe.
Well, the top-ranked tennis player from America, that was pretty easy to find, is 32nd in the entire world, Riley Opelka. And then John Isner, number 2 for Team USA at 33. So, the top 2 American players are ranked 32nd and 33rd, and there you go.
Was Eisner the one that played in that match recently? And recently for me is the last 3 to 4 years. It was like 28-26, some sort of tiebreaker. I believe he was. Some crazy number. I'm serious. It was crazy back in the day.
Oh, okay. Here you go. There are no American men in the ATP's top 30 for the first time in 48 years of computerized tennis rankings. Taylor Fritz at 31 is the highest ranked U.S. men's player, but this was posted 50 days ago, so nearly 2 months ago, the lowest ever mark by the U.S. men in the world tennis rankings, and it hasn't even changed much. They're still they've gone down even a further spot to 32nd and 33rd rather than 31st where Taylor Fritz was. So, historic low right now for U.S. men's tennis.
When we come back, he's a free agent right now. He was a really good player for Baylor. Bryce Hager played with the Rams, the Jets. Waiting for that call and also just chilling out down in Austin with his family. Got a couple of new kids. We'll have him on the show. At 4:30, Devyn Bobby, the safety from DeSoto, and much more to come. Paul's top 5 at 5:55 coming up at that time. By the way, on John Isner, I just tweeted this. I just went up and Googled. He had a match against Nicholas Mahut. This was at the 2010 Wimbledon Championships. 6'4", 3'6", 6'7", 7'6", 70-68.
Yeah, they started again the next day. It got dark, and they picked it up again.
I thought 28-26 was a little bit insane when I just popped that number out. I wasn't even close.
No.
It's 2.5 times that number. All right, coming up, Bryce Hager, former Baylor linebacker, SicEm365 Radio.
Travel is back. Hit the road with big savings during the summer savings event at Richard Carr. The road is waiting. Explore America again in the space, safety, and luxury of a Buick SUV. And during the Richard Carr summer savings event, current Buick or GMC owners get 16% off a new 2021 Buick Encore, 13% on Encore GX, 9% on midsize Buick Envision, or 13% on a full-size Buick Enclave. Summer travel is back at the summer savings event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Senior from Wayne, Michigan. He'll get it again. Actually, that's Nick Hill on 1st and goal, and he is slammed down. Big hit by middle linebacker Bryce Hager, 5th-year senior, the leading tackler on this Baylor defense.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
First down at the 22. Langford picking a hole, and he gets pushed back. The strength of Bryce Hager.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. This 4 o'clock hour. DeSoto safety Devyn Bobby will join us today at 4:30. Former Oklahoma All-American, former Cowboys and Falcons, I think Jets defensive lineman and part of the Big 12 network, and Tony Casillas at 4:45. We're now joined by former Baylor all-conference linebacker and NFL linebacker, waiting for a phone call at this particular time, and Bryce Hager on SicEm365 Radio. David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak. Bryce, great to have you on. You are enjoying, you told me this a little bit, just kind of chilling a little bit, decompression with the family time. What's that like?
Yeah, I'm out here in Austin just hanging out with my 2 girls and my wife and just taking it easy, just working out and going day by day right now.
Bryce, how much did this last year, affect guys who are free agents like you, and that, maybe free agency wasn't the same after as it would have been, a year ago? And what are you working on right now as it comes to maybe waiting out camps to start?
Last year actually kind of helped out free agents like me, just for the fact that rookies weren't able to go to OTAs. They weren't able to have that time with those coaches before training camp kicked off, and the way they did practice squad and increased the limit to 16 opposed to 10 and having vet guys able to join the practice squad, it actually helped me out and a lot of older vets out throughout the season. And so as of now, I'm just kind of treating it like a normal season, normal year, trying to get better at things I know I can get better at and staying strong.
Does it feel like you've already been in the league or playing pro football for 6 years now?
Looking back, yes and no. It's flying by, but certain moments I'm like, dang, that seems like a long time ago. But because I was out in St. Louis, then we went out to California, then I was out in New Jersey last year. So we've been hopping around, but definitely flying by.
What's it like right now? You're enjoying that time, but you also still want to continue to play. What are the conversations like with your agent, and is it where it's just a matter of time where everyone gets to training camp when your phone starts to buzz?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of in the same situation last year, like I said. I mean, I didn't get a call until August. I went to the Raiders training camp. I was there for a couple weeks, and then I had some workouts in the beginning of the season, and I signed with the Jets week 3. So it really, I got a lot more attention as soon as training camp kicked off. So I'm just anticipating something like similar to that this year. And I have a lot of good relationships with coaches across the league that I've been in touch with. So we'll just see how everything falls into play.
Going back to your time with the Rams, what was that like to be a part of a franchise moving from a city where they'd been for a long time in St. Louis back to a city where they had been previously, but with like a whole new feel in Los Angeles?
I mean, it was an exciting time, especially making that move from St. Louis to LA. I mean, just going back to the city where they were there for so long. I mean, the fans were great out there. The atmosphere, playing in the Coliseum was awesome. And I was actually lucky enough last year to be able to play in SoFi. When I was with the Jets, we actually played the Rams and the Chargers, so I got to play there twice last year for the first time, which was absolutely awesome. Seeing that stadium build when I was out there with the Rams and then actually getting to play in it was really surreal.
Bryce, when you look back at your time at Baylor, what are the memories that stick out most to you?
I mean, a lot of those memories are tied to a lot of the guys I met. You know, I still keep in touch with a lot of those guys, the friendships I made. And, I mean, it also didn't help that – I mean, it definitely helped that we were pretty good when I was there. So a lot of good memories come from the games we won, the Big 12 championships we won. And like I said, the guys I met I still am friends with today. So the friendships definitely.
You said you guys were pretty good when you were there. You won back-to-back Big 12 titles. You were damn good.
You know what? I actually saw a stat that somebody had put up earlier. They put the winningest teams in college football since 2010, and despite the fact that they've had a 1-win season and a 2-win season, Baylor still has more wins than Texas and like 75% of other programs. That's how good Bryce and them were in the early 2010s, that even with a 1- and 2-win season, they're still like top 30 in wins in the last decade. That's pretty cool.
What was that like, Bryce, to be a part of taking the football program to a completely different level?
You know, it's actually pretty funny. There's a funny story about me and my dad before I committed to Baylor. I had just got off the phone with Coach Bryce, and I kind of knew that's where I wanted to go. But growing up my whole life, I was like, I want to go to Texas. I want to be a Longhorn. I want to do that, follow my dad. And so Texas wasn't offering or any of that, but Coach Bryce called me on the phone pretty much every day, and I really liked what he was doing. And so he called me. I committed. Went upstairs and told my dad. He was like, "That's awesome, but just know that you probably will never go to a bowl game." So I guess the rest is history from then.
So what was the conversation like when you guys beat Texas to win a Big 12 championship?
I mean, obviously, like my dad is super supportive, and he loved like the fact that even getting to a Big 12 championship and able to play and those kind of games, he was super supportive, and obviously just wanted best for me. And if we won, great, and if his team won, just as good. I mean, so he was always supportive, and it was always fun, friendly, loving competition in that regard.
I just think it's great that that's the way it ended up after he makes that comment initially, and then, you know, there you are playing Texas for a Big 12 title. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool how it ended up.
I know. So I think at the time, Baylor didn't go to a bowl game in like 17 years, and that's before my first year when we went to the Texas Bowl in Houston, and that was the first one we've been to, and yeah, like 16, 17 years. I can't remember the exact number, but it's been a while, so that's why he made that comment.
Have you successfully thought out from that Big 12 championship that you won over Texas? Because I think, given the freeze this year, we might have just bumped up. Because it took me until maybe yesterday to get over that, how cold it was that day.
Oh, I know. It was crazy, but I didn't actually get to play in that game. I actually ended up tearing my groin like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, and I wasn't able to play in that game, which was unfortunate. But I was there cheering on those guys.
They've had the 11-win season with Coach Rule's third year, and now they're trying to rebuild again. And your thoughts? How much do you pay attention to what Baylor's doing now since you left Baylor to go to the NFL?
I was involved a lot with watching Coach Rule and the way he ran the program. I thought he did a great job. Last year was a little bit tricky just because of scheduling and how everything played out last year, so I didn't keep up as well. But I really like what he's doing. I like the guys he's bringing in, and so I try to keep up to date best as I can. I have a good buddy who kind of sends me all the alerts and kind of keeps me up to date, and so I pretty much get all my news through him. So, but this year, with everything going back to normal, I'll be a little bit more involved with all that. Definitely want to make it out to a game. I haven't been out to one in a long time, so that's one of my goals in the next few years.
Well, hopefully you'll have something you're doing on the weekends that keeps you from coming to the games, but at the same time.
That's right. That's why. So hopefully a couple of years I'll swing by, and by that time I can be a season ticket holder, go to all the home games.
Well, we'd love to see you there, and when you're in town, let us know. Bryce, you mentioned you kind of went through this free agency thing last year. Is it unnerving in any way, or is it kind of almost where someone's going to pick up the phone and call you because of just the way things are with attrition?
That, and I mean, the older you get in the league, kind of gets to that, especially a guy like me who's kind of just a special teams guy like that. And I mean, the season, they just changed the rule. The season, they added another game, and there's always injuries. There's always things that happen that you can't predict. And so I know I'll end up getting a call. It's just a matter of when. So that's why I'm just trying to stay in shape and ready if it's the first of training camp or if it's the first week of the season. So we'll just see how it goes.
So you have those two young children. What's that like?
I mean, they're 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So they're just all over the place, and it's full hands on deck every day.
Full hands on deck. So what's
tougher, playing in the NFL?
Yeah, what's more difficult, the NFL collisions or trying to wrap up a 1 and a 2.5-year-old?
I don't know. My 2-year-old is pretty fast. I'll try to get her from the playground when it's time to go home. She wins me pretty good. So, I mean, it's a pretty neck and neck right there.
So just lateral side to side movement like linebackers have to have. She's got you beat.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like that. She's pretty athletic for a 2-year-old. I mean, looks like she'll probably get in soccer here in a couple months. She loves doing that.
What is Brecken doing these days?
Brecken is, have you seen that movie, 12 Mighty Orphans, that just came out recently?
He's in that. That's exactly right.
So he's kind of doing trying to do a little bit of acting. He's starting to do a little film project with him and his buddy and my dad, actually. They started a little company, so they've been trying to work on that for the last year with getting movie scripts and raising money for stuff like that. So, yeah, that was kind of his first thing into the movie world. He did that, and there was another movie that was in Sundance. I can't remember the name of it that he was in this year too. So he's kind of just playing around with that.
Have you seen 12 Mighty Orphans?
I have not, but I've been trying to make a point to go see it.
We had one of the guys on, Paul, I forgot the name of the person we had on, but one of the producers or directors, and he was actually a part of the film too as a player. I was able to watch it on my way to Florida 2 or 3 weeks ago. It is really, really good. There's no question about it. I remember that. Brecken's name came out on the crawl.
By the way,
that's what I've heard. I'm trying to make a point to see it, but if I don't get it to the theaters, I'm definitely going to rent it as soon as it comes out.
By the way, he's got 6 credits on IMDb. I mean, how many of those are, like stuff that you would have seen? I don't know, but there's a movie called The Blazing World that also comes out this year.
Yeah, The Blazing World, that's the one that was submitted to Sundance this year. And my dad was actually a producer of that.
When did your father start? What was that always an interest of his or what?
No, it really just started over the pandemic when kind of everything was shut down. Him and Brecken kind of just got together and kind of made this little business and had some connections through LA and my older brother Braun, and they kind of tied everything together. And he just found an interest for it, and he's actually doing pretty good at it right now.
How often did you and Brecken talk when you were in the NFL and he was at Texas?
I mean, being a college student, you kind of hard to get a hold of him. So whenever he'd get the chance, we'd talk a little bit, but really never really about football though. Like we would talk a little bit about football, but kind of like when the family's together, football's not really a topic.
Right.
It's just, yeah. So
you,
but yeah, I see him all the time. He's down here in Austin, so I get to see him a lot more now, which is nice.
He's got that Hollywood kind of a feel to him. And he could be, you know what? He could be a professional wrestler as well. I think he has that look there too.
I know. He's got one of those body types. He can go work out for 2 weeks and be ripped up again. I'm like, how the hell did you do that? Like, he doesn't work out for 6 months. He hits the gym for a week or so, and he's back to freaking playing shape.
Don't you hate that? I mean, that's not fair. Right.
So.
What's your body like after these years? Craig asked you about it. What did you now that you've been in the league long enough and you've been through enough games and seasons? What's it like? How are you physically?
Good physically. The only kind of setback I had was 2019. It was against the Bucks. I tore my labrum and had some kind of little nerve issue in my left shoulder. And I was put on IR that season. It was like week 5 or 6. And so I missed 2019, and I was able to get surgery that following January, and I was able to play this last 2020 season. So pretty much just my shoulder, and everything else is holding up pretty good.
Yeah, it's a crazy, violent, tough physical game, mentally and physically. We're proud of what you've done. Good luck. Hope you get a call here pretty soon. Hopefully you'll be at a training camp and also get another year in the NFL. And thanks for your time.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on, and let me know whenever you guys want me back.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce Hager, former Baylor All-American linebacker, part of those Big 12 championship teams. Mentioned that he was with St. Louis and then L.A., the Rams, also with the Raiders for a little bit, and then spent time with the Jets and now waiting for that call.
Do we have a little bit of time here?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. We got
well, for one, man, what a massive glow up that is. St. Louis to Los Angeles. I mean, St. Louis does not seem like the greatest place to live these days. And L.A., probably not either, but I'd much rather be out on the West Coast. So that was a nice little upgrade for him as a Ram. But I'm, referencing to him during that and to you guys, this list that came out. And it's from the same site that, does like random things every day, and I don't even know what the basis for it is. This one actually has facts behind it, though. It's not like best campus and voted on by me, and this is actually win totals. So yeah, Baylor by my count is 32nd or 33rd in win totals since 2010. 32nd or 33rd. They've had 85 wins, and that's the same amount that K-State's had. That's more than U of H. That's more than Miami. That's more than like 75% of the entire college football world, and that's with a 2-win season and a 1-win season. So that goes to show you they're only 8 wins off of TCU's total. I mean, that goes to show you that, it's been up and down, but there's been more up than down, that's for sure. I mean, the amount of programs behind them in the Big 12 alone, Iowa State, Tech, I mean, pretty much everybody other than, like, Oklahoma they are in front of when it comes to the Big 12, and maybe Oklahoma State as well, and TCU. Other than that, they're right there.
Yeah, the only difference between TCU and the rest of those programs is that when TCU has a down year, it's not all a catastrophic down.
Yeah, it's like 6 wins.
Yeah.
It's not 2.
Or barely missing a bowl. Yeah, that kind of thing. They kind of hang around. Yep.
So the top wins, obviously, Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, OU. Who do you think's number 5? Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, OU. Top 5 wins since 2010. They're not a Power 5.
Not a Power 5. UCF.
Boise State.
That's my next guess.
Yeah, Boise State's still in that mix, huh?
UCF's like 12 or 13 on here. They got 94 wins, but Boise State, Georgia, LSU, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's the teams that you would expect. Stanford is up there like top 10, which is kind of surprising, but I bet they've been consistently good. But, I just expected Baylor to be like on the second half of this. But no, they're borderline top 20 or borderline top 30.
I saw a story that just flashed up on my Twitter timeline. David Shaw said Stanford's going back to the fundamentals. that pro-style type team.
Where did they go?
Yeah, when were they running the fun and gun? I don't remember those days at all.
I think he was talking about the physicality of their offensive.
It's kind of like when that song "Sexy Back" came out. I want to know where it went.
Yeah,
where
especially for Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, where did it go? Did he gain 70 pounds and we just missed it? And I don't know, but yeah, where did it go? I don't know, but yeah, maybe just because Stanford, they have not been necessarily competing every year for the Pac-12 title, which given the down nature of that conference, they probably should be. But
on a more regular basis, yeah. I mean, they've been plenty good, though. I mean, they've had a couple guys that should have won Heisman trophies and got screwed over. McCaffrey being one of them, and the running back before that. Bryce Love was kind of in the mix. But no, there was it was another white running back, wasn't it? What was his name? Earlier this decade. I'll have to look it up. But, I mean,
Toby Gerhart?
Yes, Toby Gerhart. That's who it was. I mean, he was arguably should have won a Heisman. I forget who he was even up against, but he was in that conversation. So, yeah, I mean, they've had 2 Heisman finalists. At least one should have won it. And they're pretty good. They just haven't gotten, over that hump of being, a really good team during the decade.
Speaking of should have won the Heisman, I know you guys have said this. I've thought he surely should have even been higher in the voting was Ndamukong Suh. He, today on his Twitter timeline, documented some things that he's been through. Not really so much like you hear about depression, mental, not that, but somewhat to the point where he admitted that he was just a jackass. He said that one of the problems he had is he did too much talking, not enough listening. That when he was in Miami, when he first arrived, had a little bit, and if not a lot, to do with the fact that the team became divisive. He was hard to coach. And if you want to look at his timeline, it's 8 different posts. And he admits things along the way to the point where, I could see a guy like that. He's so dominant, he's violent, he's big, he's strong. And he kind of documents what happened and what he learned from the staff in Miami that he's taken now, of course, to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, introspection's a good thing. And Ndamukong Suh's always struck me as a smart guy who just had just a fiery streak in him that if it gets lit, I mean, you can't control when the fire goes out, And so that's good to see. That's good to see. Maybe they can let him pick the new AD at Nebraska.
Yeah, maybe they
but
can.
Apparently the guy who's essentially picking it is Scott Frost.
Scott Frost is picking the AD.
I mean, you read that article I sent you last night,
right?
Yeah,
I don't think I would trust. With all due respect, that's the last person. He's got to worry about winning football games. But you have Matt Davison, you have Trev Albers, and there's a couple of others. Jeremy Patton from Tenaha has released his top 5. It includes LSU, Texas, Baylor, Michigan, and Arkansas. He's a big, strong, plays a lot of different positions, of course, at a 2A school like Tenaha, but his top 5s include Baylor, Texas, LSU, Arkansas, and Michigan. That's a pretty hefty group. Not sure what his timeline is after that. So that's pretty good news for Baylor to be a part of that conversation. All right, when we come back, Devyn, Bobby, part of the conversation from DeSoto. Grayson threw down a nugget. I believe it was Grayson or Colt earlier today that they felt like Baylor had a sleeper commit coming. Devyn Bobby, I'd never heard of him much until I realized he played at DeSoto football, looked up a couple of his stats, had a chance to talk to his head coach and secondaries coach. He's the latest commit for Baylor football and Dave Aranda, and Devyn Bobby is next on SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, they've got the summer savings event going on now and a lot of great deals that can be yours over at Richard Carr. They've got new and pre-owned vehicles that are priced down right now, and of course they've got great service on the lot as always because that's what they do at Richard Carr Motors. They offer you great deals time and again, and of course extremely good customer service as well. They've got the line of Buicks that are going on right now with all this travel, everybody getting back out on the road, families. How about savings like a 2016 Buick Encore for $148 a month? How about a 2017 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month? They've got 2016 GMC Acadia for only $228 a month. And at Richard Carr, 100% credit approval is always the goal. So get there now for the summer savings event. People are exploring America. You can get the space, the safety of a Buick SUV. It's got tons of luxury, and Buick or GMC owners get 16% off new 2021 Buick Encores, 13% on Encore GXs, and 9% on midsize Buick Envisions, or 13% on full-size Buick Enclaves. And the deals go on and on and on. And, of course, they are great when it comes to customer service. So not only can you go and take advantage of the new or pre-owned deals that are going on right now at Richard Carr, but you will also get that friendly customer service. So if you want to come to the lot and you want to get a test drive, they can hook you up there. But if you're not quite feeling comfortable, then they can bring the test drive to you. That's right. All you got to do is give them a call, and they will set up a test drive with whatever vehicle you're looking for. Both new and pre-owned deals do apply, and take advantage of that right now. It's a summer savings event going on all month at Richard Carr.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Do it today by searching SicEm365 on YouTube.
All right, earlier today, Fort Bend Hightower wide receiver Caleb Douglas, he was very personable. Coming up at 5 o'clock, Alvin Abasale from Coppell, the offensive lineman. We're now joined by DeSoto safety Devyn Bobby, who made his commitment to Dave Aranda and Baylor earlier today to make it one heck of a run again for Baylor so far, that class of 22. Devyn, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So how quickly did this develop with you and Baylor?
It developed pretty quickly. I went on an unofficial visit early on in the month, and I basically set up with the academics, coaches, and facility. And ever since then, it's been up for me with Baylor.
We've heard from several commits to the class that Coach Aranda really brought it home for a guy who you see in his past stops at Wisconsin and LSU, coached a lot of guys in the NFL and a lot of high college success. For you being a defensive back, was that the major draw for you to come to Baylor?
Yes, sir, it was. I feel like Coach Aranda knows what he's talking about. He knows how to lead a team. He's just leading players in the right direction in every position.
Was it kind of surprising getting to know him? He's a very quiet guy from what we're able to see, but is it like a lot different when you actually get that personal time?
Yes, sir. It definitely is a lot different.
How so?
'Cause it's like you said, he's quiet, but I can feel the energy as when I'm talking to him face to face. But he definitely is quiet. But like I said, I can definitely feel his energy, and I can tell that he's a great coach.
How much do you feel like this class that Baylor's building, we mentioned Caleb Douglas, we mentioned Abasale, he'll be on with us at 5. We got you on today. We appreciate you responding so quickly. And it seemed like they've got some really, really nice momentum. What's it like to be a part of it? How much has your phone been blowing up?
Man, it feels great. I see a lot of 22 commits in the Baylor, and that's a great thing. I feel like we can be a powerhouse team coming up in the class 2022, and my phone been blowing up ever since I made that commitment video. It's just been a crazy day today. Crazy and exciting day.
Has it been fun, though?
Yes, sir, it has.
That's good.
Devyn, do you feel like you're under the radar? That people don't quite get how good you are, your play as a football guy, as a safety, excuse me?
Yes, sir, most definitely. But I like that because I love proving people wrong every day. I love playing with a chip on my shoulder. It only gonna make me a better player.
Well, I called your head coach, Claude Mathis, earlier today. He was in a meeting. He handed me the phone to your coach, secondary coach Biate. He told me you have a very high football IQ and academically. You have great ball skills. You're a great tackler. You're going to help learn the defense quickly and not only get the secondary straight, but also the linebackers straight. So what do you not do good?
That's a very hard question to answer, honestly.
Or I should say, what do you not do well?
I know I have areas to improve, but everybody has areas to improve, but that's a very hard question to answer. I don't think I can answer that right now.
Well, that's good.
What's your favorite part of that, of all that he just mentioned? Do you like being in the box? Do you like covering? What gets your juices really flowing?
Locking the number one receiver down, and also I would say locking the number one receiver down and come up and make a big hit.
I think fans like to hear that from a safety. Yeah. Absolutely. What's it been like getting to know Coach Pallage, and who are some of the others that you've been talking to along the way as well?
Coach Pallage, he's a great person. I love him already. And I've been talking to Coach McGuire, Coach Nance, and Coach TJ. Them were really coaches I've been really talking to. But when I went up there and met the whole staff, the energy is it's high right now. It's real high. I love all the coaches already.
When did you actually call Coach Aranda? What did you say to him, and what was his reaction?
I don't think I called Coach Aranda. I called the DC.
Ron Roberts?
Yes, sir.
And what was that conversation like?
We were talking about how exciting he was, how excited I was. He glad to have me as a Baylor Bear. And it was just short and just sweet. It was a good conversation.
So I was told as well that you will do everything possible to never let your mama down. Can you tell everybody the story about vacation that was scheduled and the 7-on-7 state tournament?
I came back from the cabin. There was a trip being planned for a month ago, so I decided to take vacation time with my family and friends.
Well, that's smart. That's a very smart decision. If mama's not happy, ain't nobody happy, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Where'd you guys go?
Well, we went to the cabins in Broken Bow, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Just kind of relaxed, huh?
Yes, sir. Had just a getaway time.
Did you miss not playing football or being a part of that tournament? Were you kind of keeping up with what was going on, or did you get a chance to just kind of get away from it?
Actually, I did miss it. I didn't want to miss the tournament, but fortunately I had to. But I did miss playing with my teammates.
Yep. So, Devyn, you're committed. Now what? What do you get to do now? Does it kind of give you a chance to relax a little bit? What's next on your agenda?
Yes, sir, most definitely. I get to relax and now it's just getting back to work and focusing on trying to win a state championship for DeSoto High School.
Well, and that's been something. You got one, what was this, a handful of years ago. Coach Mathis is now back.
Shoot, man, we're going to see Devyn this year. Midway plays up there, yeah.
We do the broadcast for Midway football. You guys smoked them pretty good. Of course, you smoke a lot of teams. But how about that district when you know that you have DeSoto, Duncanville, and Cedar Hill? Every single – I mean, that's like murderer's row right there.
Yes, sir. It's a battle. You got to come to play. You got to come ready to play. You got to practice from Monday through all the way to game time. It's straight business.
What's the biggest rivalry for you guys, though? I mean, is it Duncanville or is it Cedar Hill? It's Cedar Hill.
It's got to be Cedar Hill,
yeah.
right?
Cedar Hill, DeSoto. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's got to be. And did you, Joey McGuire, as you know, was a legend there as a head coach.
Yes,
did that ever come into play at all?
Yes, sir, I do.
You forgive him from being the head coach at Cedar Hill, being really good, right?
Yes, sir, I forgive him.
What is he like? I know Powledge and Ron Roberts and Dave Aranda. Coach McGuire has some magic to him as well, especially in the area around Dallas and Fort Worth. What's that relationship like? What's it like to talk with him?
It's real good. Like I said, he had a great success at Cedar Hill, and he's doing great at Baylor now. And me and his connections already connected real well. He pushes for me, and he's just a really great guy.
Devyn, I don't know what else you could do other than what Coach Biotti told me with what you have. I mean, my goodness, great ball skills, great tackler, football IQ, academic IQ, sets up the secondary, and he'll tell the linebackers where they need to be as well. And you didn't want to disappoint your mother. That kind of just checks all the boxes.
Yes, sir.
All right, young man, go have fun. Enjoy it. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Devyn Bobby, safety from DeSoto, committed this afternoon to Baylor. So Caleb Douglas, the wide receiver, Saturday. And then Abasale earlier today. And then now Devyn Bobby, the safety from DeSoto.
Yeah, and we could see one more today, possibly.
According to who?
Grayson.
Okay.
Yeah, Grayson said we could see.
Oh, did he say that during the segment?
Yeah,
okay,
he said. I think he said on Twitter like there could be one more, but
okay.
But that might have been now he might have been like that might have now been amended to the top two.
Yeah.
So
about you're talking about with Brown. Yeah, Brown and also Patton as well. All right, coming up, Tony Casillas, All-American. I believe he was Outland Trophy winner, part of the Cowboys and Jets, Falcons. Now part of the Big 12 network on Sirius XM Radio. Just thought it'd be a good time to have him on to discuss the Big 12 as we are a couple of weeks away from Big 12 Media Days, 2 weeks from Wednesday up in Arlington at AT&T Stadium. And then also a little bit later on, Paul's Top 5 at 5:55. And then another little snippet of Don Truhl and Lawrence Elkins. And then, of course, Alvin Abasale, the offensive lineman from Coppell who committed to Baylor. And this is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Ken Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, maybe you used to be. As you get older, Father Time, things change within your body. A lot of things change, including possibly your testosterone level starts to drop. It's part of the deal. 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues when it comes to low testosterone. 1 out of every 3. That could include sleeping issues. It could include lethargic. You lost energy. You're not the same. And it could include your sex drive. part of that happens. I mean, 1 out of every 3, that means a lot of people have to deal with, a lot of men. As father time takes over, Dr. Kent Petty will set you up with lab work, check your blood results, and if your testosterone levels are too low, he'll put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels so you can be the high-performance man that you want to be, to get back whatever you're missing. Petty Clinic, lowt.com.
It's the 4th of July sales event going on at Allen Samuels on the new 2021 1500 Ram Lone Star Quad Cab trucks. The 3-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve with total values up to $5,250 or 0% for 72 months plus $1,000. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Quad Cab during the 4th of July sales event. Visit Allen Samuels today or online at allensamuelsdcj.com.
Come by. Let's be friends.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
4:42 is the time. Tony Casillas, former Oklahoma All-American, played with the Falcons, Cowboys a couple of times, Chiefs and Jets as well. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Won a national championship at Oklahoma in 1985. He's a part of Sirius XM Radio as well. And I noticed this. The other day he hosted what was an evening with Barry Switzer. How much fun would that have been a part of, huh?
Yeah, I bet that was fantastic for those in attendance. Barry Switzer is a super entertaining guy, and I never get tired of hearing him tell stories. He's got a great memory for someone who's met so many different people and gone so many places. But, getting a couple Sooners together and reminiscing, I'm sure was a lot of fun.
Keith Jackson, the great tight end. Billy Sims was there, among, I think, Joe Washington, Tony Casillas, among others. So we'll try to get Tony lined up here in just a moment. Craig, you want to do the note about what Grayson's, Bruce Feldman, reporting.
Yeah, Bruce Feldman, not Grayson. He is saying at these hearing, Baylor is a school to watch that may land LSU massive left tackle Dare Rosenthal. It says if the Bears get him and he's ready to go, his talent would be a big help for Dave Aranda's program. And this was a comment leading to a link to his impact transfers of 2021 in college football, which I suppose he believes Dare Rosenthal would be if he lands at Baylor. But, yeah, they are apparently in the mix for big LSU left tackle Dare Rosenthal, which would be a huge get for this program. And I don't know how much room they've got, but they'd obviously make room or find room for him, and could always use immediate help on the O-line, so that would be a pretty big get for the Bears if they can make that happen.
That's about 700 pounds of football players if they get him to commit or transfer to Baylor along with Siaka Ika.
There are some reports he's violated some team rules at LSU, so I'm sure that'll have to be worked out wherever he gets transferred, but assuming that it's a relatively minor violation, it shouldn't stand in the way of him going anywhere.
Yeah, I would think that that's something they're going to double, triple check on before anything's official, and they look to perhaps even be a favorite, but we'll see. It's the transfer portal. It's a little crazy, as I'm sure Tony has some comments on as well.
Tony Casillas, Big 12 Network, Sirius XM. Also, we've told you, two-time Super Bowl champion, national champion, Lombardi Award winner, played with the Cowboys a couple of different times. Tony, what are your thoughts? Thanks for your time. What are your thoughts about this transfer portal?
I think it makes quite interesting. I think that all of a sudden now players have the opportunity to make decisions and don't feel captive like they have in the past. I think that it's a total opportunist for players that may be disgruntled or just not happy, and it kind of puts them, the coaches and the program kind of with their hands tied behind their back. In a nutshell, I'm for it because I think sometimes as a player, as someone getting recruited, you're naive enough to believe what coaches tell you, and when you get there, it's exactly totally what they told you to do. So it just makes it really just fascinating because I think on the negative part of it, the only thing that I don't like about it is because it makes you coach a different way, because I think now, and look, I'm not one of these old guys that doesn't like this type of generation, but it does make coaches have to curtail the way that they coach. All of a sudden, they got to be more careful of them being sensitive to what they may or may not say. So I think that's the issue that probably coaches have, because a lot of players, if they're happy, they're like, okay, I'm just going to leave and go in the transfer portal.
Yeah, Tony, isn't it kind of a weird two-sided coin in that, one, it's good in that, the transfer portal will allow you to more easily find where you should be, but also it just gives a voice to people who, if it doesn't go exactly their way, they're going to leave.
Yeah, I think you can look at it the two ways. Some players that have the skill set, and maybe a quarterback and maybe offense or defensive lineman or whatever the position may be, it gives them another opportunity. And look, I think that you couldn't do this, 3 or 4 years ago, whenever the transfer portal started. So I think that you have to be, you can't be naive about that. And I think it's very hard when it comes to, a 17, 18-year-old kid coming to campus and look, all of a sudden he's not happy. And, to me, it just seems like there's a lot of sensitivity there. But I mean, it works for the really good players, not maybe for the guys that want to go somewhere, maybe play at a program that may not fit them like I thought it would when they first came out of high school. So it does give them an opportunity, but it also gives other schools an opportunity to fill a void that they might not have with the guy that can all of a sudden come in and help them.
Tony, your thoughts on name, image, likeness. There's like 3 major topics in college football right now, and that's another one of them along with the transfer portal. It seems like those old Oklahoma teams could have certainly had the personalities to get out there and be on commercials and do whatever. I mean, it's a whole new world we're all preparing for. What are your thoughts as someone who, back in the day could have taken advantage of that if these rules were in place?
Well, I think it needs to be across the board. I think that, I was thinking about this, that I think it's something that's going to happen. What they just said, something in July, that players can take advantage of that. But I think it should be kind of like what the NFL does, because I think certainly that's what we got to compare it to now, unfortunately, is that there's this players pool, and whatever is sold through, whatever merchandise, jerseys, whatever that is, I think that they need to split it up across the board. And it shouldn't be just one player, because look, Baylor's taking advantage of the players, what they do, the program, and the players are taking advantage of Baylor as far as giving them opportunity to play. And you know what? I cannot be that naive to think that these players, some of them, not all of them, want to go to college and get a college degree. I think they're first. And look, maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm thinking out loud too much, but I think a lot of players are thinking about going to the NFL, and that's not going to happen. Not everyone's going to go and be a number 1 draft pick. Not everyone's going to play in the National Football League. So I think now take advantage of what these colleges have done for so long. I'm not trying to be harsh, but to me it seems like that they prostituted us players for so long, using us to build big venues, to build championships, and all of a sudden, once you're done, it's all about the whole syndrome of what have you done for me lately. I've seen it on both sides. I've seen it as an alumni player, and I've seen it as a player, and then looking at what your programs are doing now. So I think it can't just be one guy. I think it needs to be split up in a pool for all the players to take advantage of what they're making. And look, these guys are making a lot. These guys are getting stipends. People don't talk about that. Yeah. They're getting a lot more. They're getting a lot more than what people think they are. You know that. Yep. So. And people, they don't talk about that. So, but if you're looking at the big picture, if there's that much money that's there for players and selling merchandise and capitalizing on that, and them creating championships based off all those players, then I think it needs to be divvied up evenly. Is that something they can do? I don't know. Is it realistic? Probably not, but I would start there.
What was it like to not only win a national championship, but to win a Super Bowl in the same career?
Man, that's such a great question. Always, I think it's all relative to what you've done. And I think that, I've had so many great relationships, with college football and OU and all those guys I play with to this day. But man, to do what the Super Bowl and what it's the life of it and everything that it does after football, especially if you're in Dallas and they haven't done anything in 25 years, it's pretty special. The magnitude of it is unmeasurable when it comes to playing the Super Bowl. It's unfortunately, you mentioned I've had both opportunities to do both, and it's just an out of body experience to win and the Super Bowl and to play into a couple of them. It's just hard to describe.
Tony, you mentioned that they haven't done anything in 25 years, and part of the issue in Dallas is that things are pretty ritzy, pretty nice, and that they might have the kind of the modern era social media brand kind of taking hold of a lot of these players. And while they're seemingly doing the best in their field, they're a lot focused on that. How did those teams that you guys had not get focused too individually? Because you're talking Hall of Famers and superstars abounding up and down that roster, but the focus at hand was always winning.
I would say this: if we would have had social media back then, it would have been a reality show. Been better. It would have been better than the Kardashians. But probably, I talked to someone. It was a couple of weeks, and we're talking about 30 for 30 did the Last Dance with the Bulls of the '90s with Michael Jordan. And someone said, "You know what, Tony? Wouldn't that be a great series on Netflix about the team of the '90s of those Cowboys?" But You know what? I tell you what. The answer to that question is simple. It's Jimmy Johnson. Even in modern day football and in the 90s, I think that he would have had enough personality and enough respect for the players that, yeah, he lets you do what you need to do. You know, you can do your brand, you can go out there and get all your followers and take advantage of that. But you know what? You got to earn that. And I think for him, that's what he was able to do. It didn't matter. I mean, he'd make an example out of Troy Aikman, whoever it was. He'd use them as an example to send a message. And I think that's really where it comes from. I mean, you know what? The Cowboys, I mean, it's a tremendous organization. Jerry has done such a great job at branding it, and all those players will be part of it. And you know, it comes with the territory. And I think there's so many guys that get caught up in that they forget what they're there to do, and that's to represent that brand and win championships. But you know, our focus was on one dude, and that was Jimmy Johnson. He would not allow us to rest on our laurels and rest on our success. He is very. I mean, he is hardcore when it comes to making you feel not getting a big head and getting full of yourself. I mean, he's the guy that does that, and there's not too many dudes out there, coaches, that can instill that, especially in professional athletes.
You played for Barry Switzer both in college and then you played for him with the Cowboys. And in fact, you came back to Dallas and that was his third year. Are those what was that like as him as a college coach compared to an NFL coach, or was he the same person?
Well, he was the same person. I think that was the issue when he came to Dallas, is that so many guys were so used to structure. And not that Coach Switzer was not that type of coach, but he just kind of did it a different way. And I think for him, it was obviously he had to basically resign from OU in 1989 and went through all that BS with having to deal with that, and really he wasn't looking to coach. And when your best friend is a billionaire and owns the Dallas Cowboys, and you just fired one of the greatest coaches that's ever coached, in Jimmy Johnson, asked you to coach. And, oh, by the way, you may win a couple of rings. I mean, what are you going to say? You're not going to turn that job down. I mean, you'd be stupid. So, but I think when he came to Dallas, Dave, I think that it was, to this day, I mean, I love that man. I mean, we did something in Dallas, and we raised money, sent ourselves in centers, but we all had the same stories about him, man. It's all, how pure he is. And he would be that phone call you'd make, and he would answer, and he'd come bail you out of jail or whatever it was. I mean, he would speak, he would come to one of your family members, your dads, and speak at his eulogy. I mean, that's the kind of dude he is. And I remember I asked him, I said, it was for the Super Bowl this last Super Bowl. And he called me, and he was mad about it because someone didn't mention me in multiple, whatever. But he was fired up, and I said, Coach, what's wrong with you? He goes, man, I just got off this Dogman's reporter. You know what? I'm going to get his ass because he didn't mention it. I said, Coach, that's okay. But then I asked him the same question. I said, Coach, what did you enjoy most? Did you enjoy winning multiple national championships or winning the Super Bowl? Or he goes, Tony, when I went to Dallas, there was 14 guys in that roster I did not know, had no history with them. And so I didn't know any of those guys. But when I was at Oklahoma, I knew their parents, I knew their mom and dad, I knew their cousins, I knew everything about them. And so that's the kind of guy he is, man. He stays connected. But look, I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. And a lot of guys, some guys, they respond to that type of leadership, and some guys don't. They resent it. And I think that's ultimately what happened. I think in the media also was, when you can't speculate what someone is going to do, then I think people hate that, because Coach Switzer would tell you like it is. I mean, there was no holding back. I mean, he was pure, and a lot of people have a hard time dealing with it, especially when you're in the media.
Oh, he's one of a kind. His memory, his stories are just unbelievable. Tony, I would imagine on talking on the radio about the Big 12 as you do, a big topic of discussion here recently is the college football playoffs. perhaps expansion in the works. There are years I know where the Big 12 could have had 2 or 3 teams in with this model, but it is controversial. What are your thoughts?
I think it's long overdue. I think that when they first came out, it was kind of this pilot, if you will, with four teams. And I think after we saw that there was this indeficiencies and some of the, the teams and deserve. 4 teams out of how many, teams that play college football. This is very difficult. And, I think that, 12 teams is fine. I think it'll be interesting for Alabama because all of a sudden Alabama has to navigate, and they'll be fine, and the Alabamas, but also have to navigate through maybe 1 or 2 games. And sometimes, as you know, that there's days that you catch a team not on their best. Well, maybe not Alabama, but it just makes it more. There's a little bit more parity, I guess. You get a lot of teams involved, and I think fans want to see that, and I think they kind of figured it out how to make money. And I think for them, that's more important, is really important to them. But in the flip side of that, I think there's so many of these other teams that have been left out. So now you give them an opportunity to be part of the tournament, and you have more play. There's more options. There's guys, there's different conferences can participate. It's not March Madness, but 12 games is getting a lot closer to that than it will ever be. And I'm pretty fired up about that.
Hey, Tony, can't wait to get you on again. Always appreciate your time. Continued luck. I saw that night with Barry Switzer. That had to be just incredible. And thanks for being a part of the show again with us.
Hey, so I'm not trying to correct you, but I'm no longer doing radio on the Big 12 on Sirius XM. But I do. I'm a contributor to 750 and Blogging the Boys. It's nothing but Cowboy content. But I do have my own podcast. It's called The Tony Casillas Show. This week we're premiering the second season. And our first guest is Troy Aikman. It's an unbelievable interview and show. So you can follow me on Facebook Live, on the YouTube channel, and subscribe to The Tony Casillas Show. Real quick, it's pretty interesting when you start talking to guys, you get on the air, and you guys remember Jeff Garcia, right?
Yeah.
He used to be the quarterback 49ers. So you guys remember all the star and the George Teague and, the T.O. and everything. So we did. I had him on my show. I'm going to have him on, I think it's probably 4 weeks. But it's interesting what happened to that whole T.O. whenever he, put his fist on the star and everything. It's really interesting to hear what Jeff Garcia's answer was to that and how that all evolved. But anyway, that's how you can check us out, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys having me.
I just subscribed to your YouTube channel. So we're on YouTube as well. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate your time and all the memories.
All right, brother. Thanks anytime.
Tony Casillas, the Tony Casillas Show on YouTube. Of course, we're on YouTube and getting blasting out numbers with a lot of our segments, including the Cowboys segments as well, including, I'm sure, the one we just did with Tony Casillas. Coming up next, Alvin Abbasier. He is about to join us. He's the one that committed to Baylor, big offensive lineman from Coppell. And this is SicEm365 Radio.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. In a long business meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Payments for qualified buyer with $4,000 down to 2.9% DTNL extra. See dealer for details.
Travel is back during the summer savings event at Richard Carr. Explore America in the space and safety of an SUV or truck from Richard Carr. Savings like a 2016 Buick Encore for $148 a month, a 2017 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month, or a 2016 GMC Acadia for only $228 a month. At Richard Carr, 100% credit approval is always the goal. Log on or get here now and save at the summer savings event at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Daniels 7 yards deep in his own end zone, and he's going to be sacked, and that'll be 2 points for the Bears. Terrell Bernard.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Prescott trying to take advantage, going deep. Cooper,
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, Paul Catalina's trying to track down a Coppell offensive lineman, Alvin Ibasi-Ale. In fact, I think we just did, or he's probably leaving him a voicemail. Big tackle from Coppell, who committed to Dave Aranda and Baylor earlier today, and one of 3 different commits that we've tried to get on the show, including Caleb Douglas earlier today, as well as Devyn Bobby as well. And it's interesting because we had the news that Bruce Feldman reported about a big offensive lineman at LSU who's looking at the transfer portal on the possibility that Baylor might be a landing spot. And same place where Siaka Ika comes from. You wonder if there's any kind of help with him on that, plus the Dave Aranda connection to LSU. Craig, there's no number, I guess. I know you mentioned this, is how many other spots are available. Eventually, you do have your 85, and you wonder how they maneuver that. But when it comes to the offensive line, if, in fact, this is somebody who can give them immediate help, although we've seen that before and it hadn't worked out, you find a way to make room for him.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a make or break on the type of team you're going to be next year and you can basically shore up your offensive line or feel like your offensive line is going to be a lot better, then, yeah, I'd say that's going to be something you'd look to do. It could be the difference in winning 2, 3, 4 more games. It could be the difference in playing for a Big 12 title and not making a bowl game. So, yeah, get the talent on campus and especially up front, and let Mateos and Grimes go to work on, shaping them up and getting them how they want them. But, yeah, it's a very interesting note that Bruce Feldman dropped, and to say that he's hearing that Baylor's a school to watch for Dare Rosenthal. the big left tackle at LSU. Doesn't mean he'd play left tackle at Baylor, but chance he would. If anything, he's playing a tackle spot. So, that would be big. Now, I need to hear more about these rules violations and things that happened at LSU and need to make sure that those are all very much in his past, because the one thing that, if you're Baylor, I don't care if a 5-star quarterback becomes available in the transfer portal. If he's a problem child, then you can't really put up with the problem. You don't have that luxury that a lot of other schools have, or at least you don't have the number of mulligans that some other schools have, because you've kind of used up yours at this point, right? So, I want to definitely get that background checked out, but he's from LSU. Dave Aranda and plenty of other coaches on staff are surely, in a place where they know him pretty well and can probably make that call. So if they feel comfortable about it, then go for it, and absolutely, it helps make this offensive line and subsequently the team a lot better.
That might be why Baylor is the favorite in that.
I'm going to try it with my number.
Yeah, that's a staff that knows him and might know, if the violations are a stack of minor things that just led to, all right, you need to go and find somewhere else, or if it's some big stuff that they can deal with. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. And LSU might be in a position now with what just came out about Ed Orgeron, where any sense of impropriety or anything bad about the team is going to get clipped, because it was reported this weekend that the first reports of Ed Orgeron's direct knowledge of some of the things that went on with Darius Geis at LSU and others. He had direct knowledge and direct interference, but like I said in the text when I sent you guys that story, it's like they rebooted the Baylor scandal with a bigger school and new actors.
Well, let's not downplay a part of this. According to hey, we read all the Baylor accusations, and not to say they're all true, because certainly know that not all of them were. There were definitely some kind of moments as far as, some of the people who ran to go sue Baylor during that time period. But it's neither here nor there. It's just to say that, every accusation or something said in a lawsuit doesn't mean fact. But having said that, according to the lawsuit, one of the 3 additional women to now be included in said lawsuit that is accusing former LSU running back Darius Geis of rape, she says that her boyfriend made Coach Orgeron aware about the incident, and he allegedly responded by saying, "Everybody's girlfriend sleeps with other people." So, not the greatest thing. Now, could that be, let's put shock value in a lawsuit? Absolutely, because they definitely did that with Baylor in some instances. Could it be true? Yeah, it could also be true. I don't know. None of us have knowledge of what actually happened, but that is one of the allegations. He says, Orgeron, that it's not true and no one told him about the incident. So, we'll see. There's a lot of this person said this. It's a lot of he said, she said in this LSU thing right now, but Ed Orgeron is now being directly tied to it. So that's going to be very interesting to follow.
Armstrong, do you have the Don Trull, Lawrence Elkins segment queued up and ready to go by any chance? How long is it? 11 minutes? Okay, let's do this, because Alvin Ibasale is not quite answering. He's not answering the phone calls from Paul and from me, and he was very back and forth with me there for a long time earlier this afternoon. So we had the late last week on Thursday, Don Trull and Lawrence Elkins were in studio with us and did a sit-down interview with both of them. We've run a couple of snippets of the hour, 23 minutes. Here's another one, and the next thing you will see from anything that is the entire thing.
Yeah. You want to break first and then go into it?
I think we probably should.
All right, let's break first, come back. Don Trull, Lawrence Elkins, and hopefully we'll get Alvin tied up on the phone. It gives us time to find out where he might be, because you're going to love his personality. Don Trull, Lawrence Elkins, just part of an hour and 23 of the Baylor Icons on SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. There's some discounts. There's 0% financing specials from 72 months to 84 months. There's a lot of that going on. But I'm going to tell you what I did today. I have a Ford Explorer that I got from there back in May of 2020, pre-owned car. And my light started popping up 3 or 4 days ago about my engine oil needed to be changed, just like clockwork. And I know that that's not like something that other cars don't have. But I went in there today, and I took my car, went into the service department, great people, fantastic. I mean, the way they have that service department running is like clockwork. Drove up, handed them my keys, had the oil change. They also needed to look at a couple of my front tires to rotate them. And then I looked at one of them. It probably needs to be replaced. But I have to tell you, the service department was fantastic. And then I was sitting there. There's a big waiting room, and it was packed. It's kind of like a hospital waiting room. I didn't go in there. I sat out in between the sales department building, the main core building, and the service department building. And I just sat there. And I watched what people were doing. A car would drive up, somebody would greet them, somebody would drive the car 20, 30 feet ahead, check it out, write it down, the person would leave, next car. It was like a factory, the way they had that place going. And you know what? They said an hour, 15-minute wait, and that's a Monday morning. It was an hour and 13 minutes, 48 seconds because I timed it. I was curious. Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, they have what you need, the three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year with Ram. They have a lot of what you need when it comes to Jeep, and, of course, even the Pacifica Hybrid from Chrysler. But they also have for you an incredible service department, and they mean it when they say it. Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by. Let's be friends.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
There's Montana and Rice. There is Clayton, Duper, and Marino. And there's, passing combinations. RG3, Kendall Wright, among many others that have been the more modern-day quarterbacks and receivers, the great receivers that Baylor's had as well. And there's obviously Trull and Elkins.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. You wonder how good were we compared to everybody else. And a different time, I told Don if it was today, I wouldn't even make the team.
No, that's not right.
Well, that's how I felt. But
instead of catching 70 one year, you'd probably catch 140.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
We didn't throw ever down. We had a running game. We had to have a running game to have a little balance and everything. But I think when I got inducted to the Texas Hall of Fame, Art was in the audience, Bryce, and I looked at him and I said, I wish I'd have played for you also. I love Coach Bridgers, but having a chance in that offense as a quarterback and as a receiver, of course, there's so many receivers, you spread it around a lot more. But we spread it around pretty good. Lawrence caught 70 his senior year. And Ingram, I think, caught 58. And we had two tight ends. One caught 30 and one caught 20. So we spread it around pretty good. Didn't throw a lot to the halfbacks.
Both of you you played in the National Football League or the AFL or the NFL. You mentioned the WFL, the Canadian Football League. You've been all around. And then you even mentioned a couple other leagues you were a part of as well. You guys had a chance to play and had some sporadic success. You broke your collarbone?
Well, that was one of the injuries. The first thing was Don led me on a goalpost and I got wrapped around it.
Wait a second. Before I take credit for leading him to the goalpost, we played an exhibition game against the Jets. Their rookie year with Namath was a rookie. So they had it back then, exhibition games, they would put them in places where players on each team may have had a college connection or something from that area. So we played in Arlington, Virginia. Namath was a rookie quarterback, and we played at a high school stadium, and the goalposts were on the goal line. Two standards, not just one. Two. And so we were on about the 10-yard line and threw kind of what we threw at Baylor, like a quick post. Lawrence caught it and looked up, and that standard was right there, and he planted, and I think the plant tore his leg up more than the hit.
Can you believe that it took forever for that? It's like, well, whose idea was it? Let's stick these two things in the field of play.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you had the knee injury or the leg injury and then also a collarbone. Do you ever feel like, what if?
Well, I have thought about that more than once. And I was supposed to be at the college all-star game that night. The Houston Oilers told them I was hurt, but they put me in the game and I got hurt. They got fined $2,500 for playing me illegally in a game where I never was the same, really.
Who told me about a road trip when you played, or someone's mentioned that you were someone with the Oilers, and you had a road trip, and you guys had to drive to the road trip. Mike Holovac was either the coach or the general manager. You're at a team hotel, and they said, "Don't put the beds down, so we can get just half price. They won't charge us full price for the room."
This is when I was in Boston. Mike Holovac.
Oh, it's Patriots.
When I was with the Patriots.
All right.
And I'd got traded after the fourth game of 1967 from the Oilers, and I was kind of ready to get out of the Oilers because there was a bunch of coaching situations with Bud Adams and the coaching changes and all, and it was very unstable. And so I said, "Oh, great, man, I'm going to Boston, and they've got Jim Nantz, man, it'll take the heat off the passer and all." And so we're getting ready to go play an exhibition game against the Jets, and it's I can't remember where it was, but we took a train. It was close, and we took a train. And on the Friday after practice, or right before practice, the coach was meeting with us all, saying, "We're going." Holovac never looked at the guys when he talked to them. He'd look up at the ceiling, "Guys," and he had that New England accent. "Guys, we're going up to play the Jets over in wherever it was," and he says, I want you to do me one favor. And, of course, Boston had some good years with Jim Nance, Babe Parilli, and Gino Cappelletti. They were the three guys kind of that were the leaders of that team. And he says, I want y'all to do me a favor. Since this exhibition game is so close, we're going over on the train on Saturday. And the game was Saturday night. We weren't spending the night. And he said, we're going over Saturday. And I want y'all to just get off your feet, watch a college game and everything, but I want you to do me a favor. He says, don't turn the covers back because we get a better rate if we don't mess the bed up. I hope I won't get X-rated here. But Cappelletti said, Coach, when we go into the restroom, he said, they've got that deal, that piece of paper over the toilet seat. Should we tear it or leave it in place? I swear. And you know, people wouldn't believe that today. I mean, that's the way, because Holloway later came to the Oilers as general manager and was signing $1 million contracts to
left
guys,
and right.
you know.
You had a chance to play at two different places. You were drafted, right? But in the AFL and NFL?
Yeah.
You picked the Oilers. What did Bud Adams promise you?
Oh, one of those same things that promised Appleton, a Phillips 66 service station that I'd get 20 years down the road.
A gas station, like an old-fashioned full service like we never see anymore.
Right.
A gas station.
That was it.
20 years later, you were going to get that.
Yeah, and 20 years later, I had a lot of other people had their hands out to get part of that station too. But that's another
So
story.
your bonus baby ended up in the hands of somebody else then, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Donnie Anderson said, Elkins, you want me to give you part of my bonus? Because I was number one draft choice for Lombardi at Green Bay. Donnie was the number one future choice since he flunked out of school his freshman year at Texas Tech. So when they didn't sign me, they signed him the next year for $942,000. Wow. About 5 times what I signed for the year before, but which is more money than I ever seen in my life anyway.
Wait a minute. You had a chance to play for Vince Lombardi and the Green Bay Packers?
3 world championships.
Yep.
And I saw him.
By the way, that would have trumped Gordon Wood being mean, because you know how tough Lombardi was. Players loved him. They hated him. They loved him, though. But he won.
I'd have probably snuck out in the middle of the night and headed back to Brownwood, maybe. But I don't know. I met him. Tom Fears drove me to a little Catholic chapel at the side of Love Field early on Sunday morning after we'd finished playing Rice here the afternoon before. And I see this little old guy with this little fedora and that gap teeth, and I didn't know who he was. I really didn't. And me, I hadn't heard much of Lombardi. And he looked at me with an old toothy grin. He said, son, I've never drafted a pass catcher number one, but to me, you're the best third down receiver in America in college, and all I want you to do is catch third and long from Bart Starr. And I guess I should have taken that to heart.
Wow. So instead of you, it was Boyd Dowler, Carroll Dale, Max McGee.
But I might have gotten splinters on a Green Bay bench. I don't know.
Oh, I think they maybe gotten splinters.
Yeah. I don't know. But they, and all those people were 6'4", 6'5", and I'm 6'1". So,
what kind of pass did he throw? Was it an easy catch pass? Is it like a tight spiral? What kind of?
Unless he threw it in the bleachers. No, I was kidding.
He says that about you a lot.
We'll not talk about him in a minute.
Anyway, he learned the technique of, I don't know, it's like it. Yeah, y'all had that deal about throwing against the gym wall with that mat there, and if you right-handed and it fell to the right, then you had the nose up properly, or was it reversed?
Backwards.
Backwards.
Okay.
Backwards. Well, I wasn't a quarterback either.
As long as you catch him, you don't know how they bounce. Okay.
But he I guess something about throwing his wrist out.
Oh yeah.
And bringing the nose up, and if that nose is up, you're gonna have a lot easier time catching it. And he never threw a hard pass. He really didn't.
So very catchable.
Very catchable.
You can see sometimes on games, some quarterbacks, when you release the ball, your 2 last fingers is like that. People don't realize when you throw a football, it's like that. and some guys throw it like this.
Baseball.
Like a baseball,
yeah.
and it nose down, and you can see a guy running it, especially short passes, in the flat route or a crossover route, and it hits them right in the hands, and they don't catch it, but it's because it's coming in there with the nose down, which means they're only getting the bottom, or as it turns out, the top half of the ball into their hands, and it slips through. And Coach Purvis was my quarterback coach and got with me, and I spent hours and hours over in Rena Mars McLean Gymnasium in the summertime, 5 days a week, throwing balls into the mat and into the backboard. I do it at different levels. Coach Purvis was writing his master's on the art of throwing the forward pass, or his doctor's, I guess it was, and had it Pierce. I don't know if you remember the guy. What was Pierce's first name, or the guy that filmed our games?
Yeah.
I can't remember. His name was Pierce.
I'd say Franklin Pierce.
But he was always over there, and they got shots from me behind, and we had tape over the nose of the ball four times, and you could see it, whether it was up or down, and then it, like Lawrence said, if it came straight back or went to the left. The majority of the time it come straight back. I mean, I could get 10 feet from the mat under a basketball goal and throw it and catch it a bunch, more times than not.
Excuse me. That's Don Truill and Lawrence Elkins, and that's just part of nearly an hour and a half they sat down in this studio last week. And Armstrong, Brian Etheridge, and company are trying to find out what day we do release the whole thing, either online and or YouTube and or as well on this show. Still working on Alvin Abasile and see if he can be available for the next segment. Paul's top 5 at 5:55, but a couple of other things to get to as well. But Waco Custom Marketplace, live crawfish available, 30-pound sacks every single week available, at least while live crawfish is still there and still good. And you have until Wednesday at 6 o'clock to order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish for $4.25 a pound. And then if you do, you can pick up on Friday after 2 or any time when they're open on Saturday. 425 Lake Air Drive. And, of course, with 4th of July coming up this week, how about ordering what you need from what could be a family get-together or what could be some trip you're making, something where you're going to cook on the road, maybe even a chance for 4th of July on Sunday to have a blowout at your house, around the pool, wherever it might be. And they have a butcher shop and bakery. It's Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's the 4th of July sales event at Allen Samuels with the 2021 Chrysler 300 with values up to $5,250 or 0% for 84 months. Be sure and see the 2021 Dodge Charger GT with total values up to $4,250 or 0% for 72 months. Allen Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco and online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by, let's be friends.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, a couple of updates. We're having trouble tracking down Alvin Abasile. Young man was fantastic. Perhaps he's got something on his plate since the time I talked to him. College World Series Championship Best of 3 Vanderbilt, Mississippi State starts tonight.
I'm looking forward to that. I've really enjoyed watching the College World Series. I don't know if I would have had as much interest if Texas wasn't involved, just because it gives you that Big 12 flair, and you're kind of watching to root for them or watching to root against them. And I guess I was probably one of those watching to root against them, not necessarily wanting an all-SEC final to have to hear that, over and over and over again. But Vanderbilt's got, 2 incredible pitchers. They've got more, but they've got 2 that could be Texas Rangers here in a few weeks, and Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. I mean, if one of those guys are the Rangers picks, would not surprise me at all, but we'll get a full dose of both of those guys, I would imagine, and should be a hell of a series. I mean, they played each other. They played each other plenty this year, so that should be fun.
I don't remember the young man's name who pitched for UT. He came in with the bases loaded and got out of a jam earlier in the game, gave up no runs, and then the next inning, I think he had runners on first and second and perhaps nobody out, and got out of the inning. And then he didn't hang one, but he just let one a little bit above the knees, and the game-winning single. He threw some BBs, man. He was a really, really good pitcher.
Yeah, he did. And, you got to think Vanderbilt has the advantage in a double elimination with Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. But, again, Mississippi State knows him. Mississippi State has played well. And, they're hot. Like they just knocked off Texas, who – until they played Mississippi State, until they got to Omaha, hadn't been challenged at all.
Kevin Vansa, whose son played at Mississippi State, I played golf with him on occasion. He's from Crawford. His son played there. We were back and forth that last game, and both teams left runners on. Both teams left their opportunities. Mississippi State, I thought, the night before, were down 5-2, came back to tie it in the 8th, and then UT, I forgot the young man's name. He just crushed a 3-run homer. I mean, he knew it when it left the bat, game over, basically. And so what a couple of nights there.
Yeah, that was a pretty brutal ending for them. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets, getting walked off in a situation like that. To have your season end that way when you're so close, and when they'd had such long nights, like the night before, the delay and just everything. But those UT kids were crushed. I mean, they were walking off the field balling in some cases, and you just had a picturesque moment of the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory, on that night when that game ended like that. But they did play Vandy and Mississippi State back in April. Vandy beat them in Game 1, 6-2, lost 7-4 in Game 2, and then won 7-4 in Game 3. So they were 2-1. Vandy was against Mississippi State, but that was 2 months ago, and this is for all the marbles and a best of 3, so it should be fun.
Man, Vanderbilt in baseball. David Price, isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're really good. Baseball news, and then Paul's got something on name, image, likeness. Jake Jackson from Nevada has transferred to Baylor. He's an all-Mountain West second-team pitcher, 5-4 record, 5 wins tied for the team lead, third most in the conference, 15 appearances, 13 starts. He has joined Steve Rodriguez in Baylor baseball.
All right, name, image, and likeness news. So July 1st is the day, which is coming up here in a couple of days.
On Friday, right?
Is the day where, all these states. So
actually, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
No, Thursday.
Yeah, so
this week.
Ohio passed it today. Governor Mike DeWine in Ohio signed the bill into law today, which you had to think that Ohio State probably had something to do with that. Like if Alabama and Georgia and Texas are going to have this in Florida, we're going to have it too. But it all now doesn't matter because the NCAA, unable to reach any kind of agreement on an NIL bylaw, has now decided that they're going to let the schools police themselves. So most of the schools will do fine, but the history of letting someone police themselves in college sports or any kind of government entity, I'll just show you why there's so much pollution, because nobody was overseeing why people were dumping toxic waste or plastic into things because they put them in charge of it. Or when it comes to colleges, the Title IX issues that everyone had because they put the schools in charge and said, here, you have to fill out this minor form here. If you check all the boxes, you're fine and you're compliant with the government rules, but we're not going to oversee it in any way, shape, or form. So now NIL, it doesn't matter if your state has a law or not. It's just up to you to craft good rules. So now you've put the schools in a bind, and I don't understand why they just can't do what every state has done. They took California's law, they amended it to their state, and they passed it.
Yep.
Why can't the NCAA look at the laws, take out what they don't want, then the state laws can be amended, or you can go around it and then go, here you go. Well, I don't know why they can't do that.
So how many of the 50 states?
8 or 9 now.
That's it?
Yeah, but I mean, now it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. I thought this was cool. This
what
is
a joke of a freaking organization. Like, I'm never going to stop harping on this. Okay, so if they didn't get this done, then what the hell have they been working on? Because it ain't the Baylor case. It ain't the LSU. What are they working on? What are they actually working on? Because there's all of these tied up, scenarios going on with various investigations. This name, image, likeness thing has been around for well over a year now, and they've had time after time after time to just come up with something, and they just keep kicking the can down the road every single time. Like, what do? They don't do anything. They just talk and don't make any actual decision out of it.
They're paying legal bills.
Oh, sorry. They're busy with the playoff. They won't start for another 3 years instead of the stuff that's right in front of us.
Yeah, but they lost the O'Bannon case in 2014. So they've had 7 years to come up with a plan. And so instead of
almighty.
A lot of times what has been effective when you talk about, and I'll compare it to government, because what you do is you prepare for two eventualities. You prepare as if you're going to win, but then you have to have a strategy if you're going to lose. So what's your strategy if you're going to lose? The NCAA just assumed that they were going to win on appeal. They lost a massive case in 2014, and they haven't won anything in it other than like little minor things since then. And you're essentially talking about stuff that would have been, ironed out in the wash anyway. So why are they, I don't know.
We ask that a lot. Why?
Yeah, why? So 7 years, what are you doing? You should have had two teams. Team one, go beat it and let's get back to the old way, because that was your goal as an organization. Team two, if team one loses, have something ready to go. But they never did that.
It's a lot of red tape, a lot of junk in the veins as far as like cholesterol on how they can get things done. It's awful, but really they're still running college sports
for right now. But I don't think that's going to last. I mean, why should it? I mean, what is the NCAA? Like, I know I don't have the same perspective as like Mac Rhodes, because he has to deal with these people on the regular, and these people are parts of committees for the NCAA and things like that. Like, I know Bowlesby was in charge of the playoff investigation committee as far as moving forward with his new idea. But I I don't know. I'm curious. It's been 5 years since the Baylor scandal started, and they're still waiting on the NCAA. That was supposed to happen in May. Then it was supposed to happen by the end of the month. Well, here we are. It's June 28th, so maybe it'll happen here in the next 3 days. And if not then, what are you going to drop it 2 weeks before Big 12 Media Days? You're going to drop it after Media Days and right before the season starts? Like, that's not tied up, and they've had 5 years on that. But let's push forward the playoff thing. How about you get name, image, likeness right first? You've had 7 years to do that, like you said, Paul. And instead, it's just another NCAA of, well, we don't have our tests ready or our homework ready, so we'll just pass off somebody else. They leave it in the hands of everybody else to determine and don't actually make any decisions of their own. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, there's red tape, and I get that. Apparently, part of the reason why they're doing this is because of another potential, like, legality. But if you had just done it in the first place, this would all been over with and done, and not a month and a half before the season starts. You're still like, well, this many states have this, and this many. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know what they do. I really don't. Other than just set up bowl games and set up championship games and, fix the arena that they're going to play in and all that, other than setting up sites and then just raking in cash and the occasional rule change for recruiting and recruiting pretty much only and transfers, I don't know what they do. I'm at a loss for that. So this stupid name, image, likeness thing, and I have seen some people go way extreme of like, well, what happens if a booster decides that he wants to pay someone $50,000 to, advertise? Well, if they decide to do that, that's fine. That's their wasted money, because I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is worth paying $50,000 to advertise your brand. He might be, but most of these college kids aren't. And I think it's going to be a wake-up call for not only the side who's kind of worried about this, but I think it's going to be a wake-up call for the players too, because not everybody's going to be raking in money and getting, sponsorships and all of that. That's not going to happen for the majority, actually. Like 95% of them it won't happen for, so...
Yeah, you're going to have your haves and have-nots.
Oh,
There's going to be more have-nots. And Armstrong, check your email if you don't mind, if you can pop that up. I know we got Paul's segment coming up in a minute. But
I want to ask Mac Rhodes about this tomorrow. You even heard Tony Casillas bring it up about how nobody ever talks about the stipends these players get now, in addition to the board, the travel, the food, the gear. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars spent on individual players every single year in football and other sports. And football and men's basketball are the only ones making money. So you're spending thousands in stuff for these students who are already getting $100,000 in a free education as a result of being an athlete. In some cases, I know not everybody's like the full Scully and all that, but there's not going to be a whole lot of money that's going around to everybody like people seem to think. And there is going to be some haves and have-nots, and I think that's going to probably be a battle that's on the horizon. I know it's Mac Rhodes has said that's a worry of his, is how do you keep that team chemistry together if there's one guy who's making $10,000 a month for the car dealership and then everybody else on the team isn't making squat? Is that going to cause a problem? I don't know, man. It's the Wild West, and this is all just a lot to take in, quite frankly, which is how the NCAA must feel.
So many decisions based on public reaction, social media, peer pressure, whatever, and then sometimes we forget about, okay, what could happen wrong? All right, so I love this tweet. This is so truthful. Stephon Johnson, he's from Texas. He's a high school wide receiver. He committed to Oregon. So this is his tweet just a couple of hours ago. Just because I'm committed to Oregon don't mean I can give everybody and they fam some gear. In other words, he's taking his trips.
No, that's saying he can't give everybody Oregon gear is what he's saying.
Yeah, everybody's asking him, hey, you give me a shirt?
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm committed doesn't mean I can give everybody some gear.
Yeah, I thought he meant that he's going to take his trips and get all his friends. Okay, well, it's still pretty good.
We'll see if he stays without taking trips. There's plenty of guys who commit and then still take their trips. It's almost don't even like asking that question anymore to recruits, just because some of them want to, and then all of a sudden their commitment's not as good because, they're still going to be looking around. Well, then it's, I don't like to really dampen that, but, it's part of recruiting.
But Kyan Roberts-Day, who joined us last week, and I had him on because it seemed like the class was starting to pick up steam. He even told us he's going to still take some trips, but then a couple of days later over the weekend, he's done. He's not going to even do that. He said, I'm done. I'm 100% committed to Baylor. At least that's what he said. He's a hell of a player as well.
Yeah, that was a big message. I mean, it wasn't a commitment. It was more of a recommitment, but it was one that I think Baylor fans needed to see, because if you had a question about anybody in this class, it would have been Kyan Roberts' day, I think, as far as just taking visits and maybe looking around. I don't know who the next best candidate for that would be, if there even is another candidate, but certainly Kyan Roberts' day, with as long as he's been committed from being a few states away, you wouldn't have been surprised to see him, maybe, flip or go on a ton of visits or whatever. But yeah, he just shored up his commitment, and that was a great thing to see, I'm sure, if you were Dave Aranda and the staff. Yeah, no question about it. 5:47 is the time. Mike George sent this in from earlier today, back in the 4 o'clock hour, about some of the Baylor players who committed. Like Devyn Bobby is not really rated by certain places. Then there's 2 or 3. You have Rivals, you have 247, you have ESPN, and then there's, every newspaper seems to have theirs as well. I spoke to Claude Matheson. Yes, he has a player he loves. I spoke to the receivers coach in Piatti. You watch Devyn Bobby, before it's all said and done, will probably be no less than a 3-star defensive back. His size is one thing that probably keeps him from being highly rated. So did Taylor Young. It's almost the same. Well, it is the same school. Different positions, same type of scenarios. We've heard the Phil Bennett story many times. Even Bryles, right? With Phil, really? We're going to do this? And he did it. Taylor Young, of course, ended up being an outstanding player, great player defensively for Baylor as well. I don't have, I've never did get here back from Alvin, so we'll try to push him back to tomorrow. And there is a good chance that we have Baylor women's basketball coach Nikki Collin on the show sometime this week, just to give you some notes about that. Paul, you break here, or are we going to take you all the way to 5?
We just talk for 5 more minutes about anything.
Clippers tonight. And Suns, Game 5. Clippers lead that series 3-1. Stanley Cup Finals start tonight.
No, the
Canadians,
Clippers don't. Clippers lead 3-1.
The Suns did.
Suns did. I thought I said the Suns did lead 3-1. Tampa Bay and Montreal. The Canadiens against the Lightning start their best-of-7 series tonight.
Let's go.
The Stanley Cup
Let's
Final.
go Bolts.
Yeah.
Let's go
Tampa
America.
Bay. So they've won, what, 2 or 3?
They've won 2.
2?
Last year, and then they won in 2000.
A few years back, yeah. And of course, the Canadians have won like 26 or 28. So it's kind of the old school against the new school, or the team that's coming up.
I sent you guys the text the other night because I was watching the game. And there's Montreal in Vegas, and it was a great game. But Canada still has very strict COVID restrictions, and I'm sure they have good enough reasons to. But or I hope they do. But they had 3,500 masked individuals allowed in the game, sitting way up. Outside the arena, they had about 20,000 people completely unmasked, hugging and dancing and celebrating, because of the first time the Habs have been back to the Stanley Cup since 1993. So, look, I'm all about prevention of spreading diseases, but I'm sorry, Canada, if they're just going to be sitting outside, you might as well sell the tickets and let them go in the game. I mean, you at that point, what are you fighting?
Yeah, I don't know what game I was watching the other night, but they had full-blown fans behind these announcers who were wearing their masks with fans who did not have masks on, and I was just wondering, what is the point of this? Like, it made no sense. It wasn't like there was a giant glass barrier or, anything like that. It was like, it made no difference. I mean, it made absolutely no difference based on where they were, and I just thought, like, this is just such theater. And it has been for quite a while. I'm not anti-mask. I'm not one of those that's like, you can't tell me what to do, which I'm just like, hey, is this what we need to do to help other people, not myself? Then I'll wear a mask for a while. I'm not that selfish. But, I mean, the fact that they're kind of parading this almost like trying to keep it going or make it seem, I don't know. I think it's all very silly, quite frankly. And are these announcers not vaccinated yet? Why not? I would think they would be vaccinated. So if they're vaccinated, why are they wearing a mask with a bunch of people who are all around them? You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's sort of odd and kind of just seems silly at this point when you see some of the folks on TV wearing masks that are. Yeah, I was texting you guys last night. So I see some players are masked, some aren't. Some coaches are, some aren't. Most of the volunteers are. And then the fans, like, it's partial. I don't, it's...
Matt Roberts from Fox 44 here in Waco. This is a story he just put up on Twitter. I can't read it. It's from D1Baseball.com, and I guess it's a subscription. Baylor head coach Steve Rodriguez mentioned as a potential candidate for the now vacant job at Arizona. That coach, Jay Johnson, went to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and again, he was at Pepperdine, so not sure if Steve's looking to get back. And I will text him here in just a second, see what he says, if he can say anything at all. So that's an interesting note about Steve Rodriguez. We'll see and try to confirm that with him if we possibly can. He's had some success here. I like Steve a lot. I mean, a lot. I just talked about how they just picked up a transfer. But you wonder if last season is there, and Mac will be on with us tomorrow, does the seat get hot?
Yeah,
I don't think Baylor's I don't think that's what they do.
Well, they just won the Big 12 tournament like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, and look, had Steve Smith not gotten sour with the AD, and he had several down years, he would have been there for a few more. I mean, a different AD, but even still, I don't think that would be productive to do.
I don't either. I mean, they were just in contention a year ago, or maybe not last year, but 2 years ago. They had a pretty good team. And then last year's the COVID year, and they did lose some guys to the pros like Davis Wenzel and Shea Langoliers. And so then last year was weird as hell. And then this year was a little bit weird. They were in line to be in the tournament. Like, they screwed themselves out of being in the tournament. They completely crapped out on the last leg of the season. And I know that there were COVID issues and whatever, so I'm not personally saying that, but they blew it. At the end of the season, they blew it. They blew the opportunity to at least be a part of the postseason and then maybe go in there and make a little bit of noise. Now, had they made it, I don't think anybody was expecting them to advance very far, but at least you give yourself the chance. And they didn't even end up getting the chance. So, no, I don't feel that way. I think he's really well liked. I think he's proven that he can put a good product out on the field. I just think the last couple seasons in particular have been just really bizarre. And, as things get back to normal, look at the difference in Aranda and company right now. We didn't have a direct comparison because last year they weren't allowed to recruit, but they sure seem like having some normalcy has certainly put some pep in their step, and I'd imagine it will for Steve Rodriguez too, unless he's interested in going to Arizona. And if he is, and hey, we'll hear about that shortly, I'm sure.
I just sent him a text. Not sure if he can respond or not. All right.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club. We like the new color on the graphics there. Jack?
What is that a gray, or is that a
that's definitely a blue
shade of blue?
That's definitely a blue.
Absolutely the Cowboys colors.
Yeah.
Because it's a Cowboys themed top 5.
All right. Top 5 Cowboys who can have breakout seasons.
You're brilliant. Go ahead, Paul.
You don't have to compliment him all the time. He's like getting him in a big head.
You have to now because he has that.
He's going to start demanding more than just pizza. He's going to be like, listen, I would like a filet mignon and a lobster tail, I will break the windows in this building.
He better be on a Baylor official visit to get that.
All right. Number 5, Tyler Biotish, the center, started the lion's share of last year. Looks like another year he could be potentially ready to break out and lead that offensive line from the center position, drawing a lot of comparisons to his Wisconsin center Cowboys predecessor in Travis Frederick. So, again, they drafted him in the 3rd round last year, thinking that they would need a center to start soon. Joe Looney got hurt. Tyler Biotish stepped in and played pretty well. I mean, could have been better, but he was also in the midst of an offensive line that only had one starter on it that was predicted for the year.
So did he look better because everyone else around him was a mess?
That's the question. That's a very good question. So, again, that's the question the Cowboys will have to answer is, did he look good because the tackles for a long time were Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele, and he was not getting knocked on his ass?
They've done a nice job. They've done a nice job of making decisions on offensive linemen. I mean, obviously, Zach Martin, Frederick, Tyron Smith, those were kind of givens. Lyle Collins fell in their lap. They've been pretty good at that. But, Connor Williams, I think one of the problems with Connor Williams is he was around a bunch of great other great offensive linemen. So no matter what, he didn't look good.
Well, and his rookie year was bad.
No, it was.
I mean, and people always kind of judge you on the first thing they see.
Was it Aaron Donald that shoved him back into a?
Oh,
of course, he did that with everybody. Okay.
Yeah. Number 4, Blake Jarwin.
He got hurt last year.
He got hurt last year, and he had just signed an extension. The Cowboys were excited about him. Mike McCarthy's offense has shown that you can use tight ends pretty well, and Dalton Schultz broke out a little bit last year, and Blake Jarwin was the better of the two going into the season. So I know there's a lot of receivers and a lot of balls going around, but especially in the red zone, look for Blake Jarwin because he and Dak had a really nice connection.
Is he sneaky fast or is it Schultz?
No, he's sneaky fast.
He kind of okay.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
If you remember when the Cowboys signed him, they had to sign him to the active roster to keep him off the Eagles a few years ago, and how much they think about him. Number 3, this one's been talked about a lot, Randy Gregory. First actual full offseason since his rookie season, and really flashed at the end of the year. So, and in a contract year finally. So the sky's the limit for Randy Gregory if he can keep his head on straight.
Yeah, he might be at the top of the list. But yeah.
Well, these other two are kind of...
All arrows point up for him.
Yeah. The other two are kind of intriguing to me. Number 2, Trayvon Diggs. Cowboys defensive back, a big defensive back from Alabama last year, had a couple of interceptions. Is Dan Quinn's defense going to help him flourish and grow? Because he had his picks and everything last year, but he also had the times of oh, look, Trayvon just got burnt like a piece of toast. So is Dan Quinn's defense going to help accentuate Trayvon's skill set, or is he just a guy who's going to intercept the ball sometimes and other times just get burnt?
Yep.
That's a big question for him. And number 1, I know it may not seem like a breakout year because he had 900 yards receiving last year, but CeeDee Lamb with a full offseason and knowing NFL routines and more time with Dak Prescott and an actual offseason in the offensive scheme and things they could do, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have a huge, huge year for the Cowboys.
Well, you better.
Yeah, I mean, they need him to.
I mean, he sure did look electrifying to me. He didn't look like I know he had some drops on occasion, but he was better than I thought he would be as a rookie. He was dynamic, and that's a team that already has some pretty good wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see. I think all those guys are great candidates. Randy Gregory might very well be number 1 just based on his backstory. If he does turn into a pretty good player, doing it on a consistent basis. But that would be for the greatest comebacks or whatever, the comeback type of a list. But certainly, and then CeeDee Lamb, I'm just imagining how they're going to divvy up the catches. How many of these 3 end up with 1,000 yards, and how are the touchdowns divvied up? Because Dak's going to have a lot of great options, that's for sure.
Wow, so what if you took all 5? Which 2 have to be better?
Randy Gregory and Trayvon Diggs. They can get by with the other ones not.
You think would Diggs be a breakout?
Yeah, I think he would because again he was good last year, but he wasn't great. I mean, he was good at times, but if you watch, there's that Julio Jones, Julio Jones drop touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he got burnt on that play.
Yeah,
there were plays that he would have had a game where he got an interception early and then, 2 series later get run past like he didn't know the guy was there.
Yep. Craig just showed me this. Think about you're a high school football program and you have 2 Power 5 running backs in the same backfield. Now, I know that's happened, but Tyler Legacy's Jamarian Miller, who we saw against Midway 2 years ago when they shut down the running game, he committed to Texas just now. Bryson Donnell, who's the other part of that backfield, earlier, I think last week, may have committed to Texas Tech in the same backfield, 2 Power 5 running backs. That's news that just came down. All right, thanks to Jack, also to Hayden, Emma, Armstrong Sims, Craig Smoak, and Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. Thanks to all of our guests today. A bunch of them coming at you again tomorrow, including Mac Rhodes, among others. And this is SicEm365 Radio. Good night.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.